59% of all children surveyed thought a goose was a type of fruit and cheese was made from straw.
The painkillers were recalled by manufacturers when it was discovered that they could cause violent seizures when taken in conjunction with water.
Athens tonight, where a 59-year-old woman has been taken to
hospital with a number of symptoms and fears. It's thought the disease could cause up to
millions of deaths worldwide if enough people caught it.
Our illness correspondent, Ben Green, has been looking at what we
might know so far.
The existence of so-called tomato flu, or NFI to give it its full acronym, was first suspected back in 2004 when a worker on a tomato farm in the Philippines complained of feeling unwell before being taken to hospital and pronounced dead. Ever since then, scientists have been trying to establish a link between the tomatoes on that particular farm and anything that might cause death. In other words, the so-called smoking tomato. Here's what we know so far. It turns out that some of the tomatoes on that farm had been fertilized using excrement imported from a pig farm in Venezuela. Tests carried out on the pigs there revealed that they'd been fed on a mixture of orange peel and the reconstituted remains of dead sheep's brains. Now, some of the sheep had been fed on grass, which in turn had been fertilized with a mixture of weed killer and specially imported liquidized turkey offal from a turkey farm in Turkey. So far, so good. But it's what happened next.
Despite having lost that arm and the hand that went with it. But for one man at least, this is one escape from certain horrific death he won't want to repeat anytime soon. Miles Anderton, IBS News, Gibsonville, Idaho.
Miles, thank you. Miles Anderton there with that truly disturbing story.
All the same, you have to figure the guy's unlucky, though, don't you? I mean, you're out walking your dog, minding your own business. You look up and see a slab of frozen urine coming right at you, right out of the sky. That's something you don't want to see.
This is something the Federal Aviation Administration's clearly going to have to take a closer look at.
Yep. You know, when you're up there in one of those things and you have to use the toilet, don't you kind of always wonder where it goes?
Well, it feels like one of those areas of modern life where the legislation is actually lagging behind where the technology is.
I mean, does it just come right out of a hole, like a pipe at the back of the aircraft, or do they have a kind of, I don't know, some kind of giant onboard sewage tank up there?
Maybe they're going to have
something you definitely don't want to know about.
Maybe they're also going to have to look at some major rerouting, which of course is going to have all kinds of financial and logistical implications.
See, this is the kind of thing I have absolutely no idea how it works. Then again, I don't really know how the toaster works. It's 10 after 5.
It is, and here's Alicia with the weather.
Julia, thank you.
Let's hope you got nothing worse than rain for us, Alicia. Rain I can live with. Frozen urine, it's too much.
Well, Anthony, let me tell you, if you're living in Latacunga, Ecuador right now, you've got other things on your mind than urine. If we...
Welcome to Look Out East with Phil Kerdridge and Sarah Holt.
The bong stories from all this region where you're local tonight.
A Suffolk village gets its first woman murderer. We have the reaction.
And if counting sperm's your thing, then Woodbridge is the place to be, as the Suffolk town comes out top in the new National Sperm Count League tables.
All that, plus the latest on that earthquake in Bury St Edmunds.
And as if that wasn't enough, Russ is here with the weather, aren't you, Russ?
Indeed I am, Sarah.
You haven't got any more earthquakes for us, I hope, Russ?
No, I don't think so, Phil, no.
Tell me, did you feel anything?
I can't say that I did, actually, Phil, no. I was actually out in the garden when it happened. Keep the wife happy, you know how it is.
No, tell me about it.
Doing a bit of edging, and I can honestly say I didn't feel a thing.
And what about Mrs. Russ? Did the earth move for her?
Yes, very good.
As they say, let's not go there.
Don't go there.
Honestly, boys. Now, it's one thing to lose your teeth, but quite another to have them stolen.
Further isolation tonight. The hospital is due to release a statement about
her condition, and we can cross now live to our correspondent, Will Parker, who's in
Athens. Will, what more can you tell us?
Francis, yes. I'm here at the Upscale Hospital in Athens, and what we're being told here tonight is that the head of the surgical team treating the 59-year-old woman at the centre of this unfolding drama, Dr. Apostolonopoulos, will come out of that door you could see behind me, down the ramp in front of it, and then make a statement to the waiting media any moment now.
And do we know what he's likely to say in that bulletin?
Well, Francis, not at this stage, no. And indeed, it may well be that we won't know what he's going to say until he's saying it.
And Will, when you say that at the moment we don't know what he's going to say, what is it exactly that we don't know?
Well, at the moment, we don't know the woman's name and we don't know the precise details of the symptoms she's suffering from. In fact, Francis, I have to say that at this stage, we don't even know whether Dr. Apostolonopoulos is a man or indeed a woman.
And Will...
These are the symptoms medical experts tell us we should be on the lookout for. If you have any of these symptoms, you should contact a doctor immediately. Hot or cold sweats. Hot or cold aches. Sweaty achiness. Runny or sweaty or achy nose. Tiredness. A sense of slight confusion. Blinking. Passing water. And, of course, in extreme cases, death.
To ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard. I'm Katie Tate. Still to come.
And I'm Richard Pritchard. Coming up.
Still to come, Charles and Camilla, reaction from around the world as Charles insists that the hairstyle was her idea.
Tomato flu. As another suspected case of the killer super disease appears in Athens, we go live to Florida.
And Africa, we've the latest poverty.
All that still to come. But first, a reminder of everything you've heard so far.
Stay with us for that. But first, coming up next, a roundup of...
Sharon Stone announces she signed up for Basic Instinct 3.
Apparently, in one controversial scene, if you look closely, you can see her varicose veins.
Meow!
IKEA exec Thord Holmstad shocks girlfriend Scarlett Johansson by announcing he's gay.
He would have come out of the closet sooner, but it took him ages to assemble.
Woof!
Woof! Coming up later, how genetically modified babies are Hollywood's latest must-have.
But first, we're joined by So News' very own scrutinizer of the stars, our man in La La Land, the wicked bitch of the West, Josh Cashman.
Outrageous! You call me bitch again and I'll scratch your eyes out and tell everyone you're crap in bed.
Nice to see you too, sweetie.
So we hear Bono is in the news.
Honey, big!
And Will, in the way that these things tend to play out, is it significant that we don't know these details?
Well, Francis, that's a very good question. It may indeed be highly significant that the Greek authorities did not release those details, particularly if when we do know them, they do indeed confirm what many people here are already reading into the fact that they haven't been released. On the other hand, the fact that we don't know those details may not be significant at all, and indeed it may be precisely because...
Athletics now, and the IOC have called for a change in the way marathons are televised in the future after an increasing number of runners have been shown urinating, defecating, vomiting and suffering heart attacks mid-race.
Golf, and in the Hyundai Classic in Florida, the American Lee Henderson was trapped in a bunker for just over 2 hours and eventually had to be lifted out with a winch before hitting his free drop into another bunker and retiring.
Polo now, and...
All that coming up shortly. Now, though...
With as many as 15 dead. Coming up...
appears to confirm that most men find women with large mugs of beer more attractive than women with less beer or no beer at all. The study...
Meanwhile, with Hurricane Michael expected in the Gulf of Mexico early Tuesday, we'll be tracking his movements minute by minute, mile by mile. Stay with us.
Alicia, thanks, we will.
Hurricane Michael? Who thinks up these names anyway?
I guess that would be the guys at the Meteorology Center.
If you're a hurricane, you want a bit of zing in the name, don't you? Michael sounds a bit too much like a girl's name to me. You want like a Hurricane Arnie or something. Now, that's a hurricane.
It's 15 after 5.
Hurricane Brad. Hey, maybe they should name them all after movie stars. That'd be something.
It's 15 after 5.
Hey, you know what? I'm onto something here. Hurricane Clint. You know, that'd be like a slow-moving, kind of cool hurricane, but you know what's going to get you in the end.
You're watching IBS News with Julia Reagan and Anthony Markovits. It's now 16 after 5. Our top stories at this hour. Health fears have been raised about the latest exercise craze to sweep the nation.
A new report out today says that shouting, now practiced by up to 12 million people coast to coast, may actually damage your...
Bono, that's Bono is constipated. That's constipated. It's unbelievable. The shock news was leaked today. I can't believe I just said that. I had a...
Or possibly 4 youths, all between the ages of either 15 or 16, who came from around this corner and confronted Mr. Kaplan demanding money. When Mr. Kaplan told them he had no money, one of the youths made a grab for his teeth and ran off with them up a locally known path. Mr. Kaplan emerged from the incident shaken, but brave enough to talk to me exclusively about how he felt.
I'm not happy. Who young people...
The Minister announcing plans to make post-employment provision more sexy with the hope of averting the much-talked-about pensions time bomb.
Yes, Mitchell, and I am going to win the decathlon at the next Olympics. The government have been shaking these magic beans for years and no one is biting the beanstalk. This will be about as sexy as my Auntie Putrid, giving it the old heave-ho after too much chocolate mousse on top of the sardines. They, Mitchell, have got trousers coming out of their mouth and they're clutching at empty bras, aren't they?
Could mean that hospitals like this would be completely overwhelmed and might even have to let perfectly healthy patients die in a pointless attempt simply to cope with a situation which would by then already be beyond any hope of redemption. Richard Harbinger, PVS News, Central London.
Richard Harbinger there in central London. Richard, thank you.
Dick, thanks. And we can go back live now to Athens and to our correspondent Will Parker, who's
there. Will, what's the latest you can tell us?
Well, the latest here, Francis, is that we're still waiting for Dr. Apostolinopoulos, head of the surgical team treating the 59-year-old woman at the centre of this deepening crisis, to make his or her way down this ramp you can see behind me and to issue a statement.
And presumably the reason for that is that there's been a delay of some kind.
Well, I have to say that's very much the feeling here, Francis. Now, of course, delays come in many shapes and sizes, and what we don't know in this case...
We really are looking at a situation where whole swathes of the population of a country like Great Britain could simply be wiped out. The much talked about tomato time bomb. Well, that's okay, you might say, I just won't eat tomatoes. Well, unfortunately, it's not that simple, and indeed, it may already be too late. Now, that's because this much talked about group of foods, the so-called tomatoids or SCTs, are in fact already present in hundreds of other food products. Tomato ketchup, puree, tin tomatoes, tomato soups, tomato sauce for pasta, sun-dried tomatoes, certain brands of frozen custard, tomato-flavoured Alco-Pop.
Reminder of our top headlines still to come tonight. That's coming up.
Stay with us for that. But first, it's time for Melly with the standing news.
Richard, thank you. I'm Melanie Bellamy, and this is the Standing News. A new survey out today reveals that for the first time ever, we in Britain now spend more on borrowing money than we do on spending it. Levels of personal debt have tsunamied through the £500,000 billion watermark for the first time since levels began. Our economics correspondent Ralph Rolfe is standing in Deptford. Ralph, what's this all about?
Melanie, yes. That the Walruses have now pulled ahead of the Wolverhampton Baboons by 3 points. Football now, and move over Wayne Rooney. That's the word on the street in Reading, at least. Rumour has it the Royals' young striker, Dean Hargrove, has been attracting attention from the likes of Messrs Mourinho and Eriksson in recent weeks. Guy Batson has been to Reading to find out why.
It's no accident that Oscar Wilde chose Reading as a place to write his famous ballad, The Ballad of Reading Jail. But more lately, that's not all that Reddingtonians have had to sing about.
Hargrove must score, does score. Hargrove, that's 4 for Dino.
Thomas Hardy may have been less than complimentary in his portrayal of Reading in his novel Jude the Obscure, but if Jude was alive today, it's odds on she'd have a picture of Dean Hargrove on her wall, and it wouldn't be obscure.
Hargrove scores. There is Hargrove! What a goal!
The Royals' top scorer last season with 27 goals in all competitions, rumours of an England call-up, and a girlfriend with, if we're to believe the tabloids, at least 2 of the naughtiest legs in the land. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Hargrove.
When you look back over the last 2 years of your life...
Vicious circle of debt in which the more money they owe, the more money they owe, and consequently the more money they owe.
And Ralph, what does this mean for us all as we make our weekly trip to the supermarket?
Well, Melanie, that's a very good question. Melanie.
Ralph, thank you.
Ralph Rolfe there. 53-year-old Jeffrey Borman, a high school janitor, was coming out of his local pizza restaurant when he failed to notice a banana peel on the sidewalk, which had been discarded by a careless banana eater. According to eyewitnesses, the 53-year-old high school janitor with a history of heart trouble slipped and fell over, but then found the whole incident so funny that he had a heart attack and literally died laughing.
Julia, you have to feel sorry for that guy.
It raises all kinds of questions about who's at fault there.
Right, but also you got to think, you know, if I could choose, I mean, it's not a bad way to go. You just had a pizza, maybe a little ice cream to follow, you're feeling pretty good about the world, and whoop, look out for that banana peel, and that's it. Hey, I say, way to go, fella.
You're watching IBS News with Julia Reagan and Anthony Markovitz.
You ever think about the perfect way to die? Get to be my age, why, it's coming at you.
It's 20 after 5.
Sure beats being hit by a ton of frozen urine out of nowhere, that's for sure.
To Los Angeles now, and more dramatic developments today in the Peter Vicente murder trial. And as ever, Lauren Peterson's in Los Angeles for IBS News. Lauren, quite a day.
Julia, quite a day indeed. The Norfolk police said it was likely that the teeth were stolen to order and were probably already on their way to Europe, where they would be melted down and sold for quantities of drugs in exchange for money. Whatever the case, one thing's for sure. In Swaffham tonight, this is Penny Watson for Lookout East.
Penny Watson there in Swaffham. Extraordinary story.
Terrible.
Makes you wonder how these people sleep with themselves at night.
Almost makes you wonder what's the point of having your own teeth if someone's just going to come along and run off with them.
Yeah, and in Swaffham, of all places. Lovely old town, Swaffham. You know Swaffham, don't you, Russ?
Indeed I do, Phil. It's one of my old stamping grounds as a lad.
Yeah, I bet it was, and I bet you did your fair share of stamping
No,
there.
I'm saying nothing, Phil.
Fair enough.
As they say, let's not go there.
Best not.
Don't go there.
More from Russ later.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Russ. Now, there was a time when nobody really thought much about sperm.
Certainly be nothing to write home about, unless you're someone who likes writing about drizzle. Or
for a while, until this next band of cloud and rain arrives, bringing with it cloudy, rainy conditions.
Brightness for a while before more rain arrives, bringing with it further rain.
Very much a waiting game now, Francis, although exactly what the rules of that game are, who's playing it and where the missing pieces are, it's impossible to...
Now, as we were hearing from Richard and Katie earlier, the world is bracing itself tonight for a possible outbreak of tomato flu. But just how serious is the situation? And in the midst of all the panic, where do we go for the true perspective? Now, as you know, our reporter Nick Burnham is our correspondent in space, embedded with the current shuttle crew on the International Space Station. Nick, I suppose you must be one of the few people not overly troubled by news of the tomato flu.
Well, Melanie, you might well think that. In fact, that's very much what I thought. But I was wrong, and you are too. There's a lot of concern up here because NASA have drawn our attention to the fact that a lot of the freeze-dried nutrients that we sustain ourselves on do, in fact, contain tomatoids. In effect, we've been told that we can't eat well over a third of the supplies on board, and that is very much a cause for concern, especially since we've already eaten half of them.
And Nick, what's your sense there in space?
Police! We're about to watch Bono disappear up his own backside. Literally.
Liking that. So are you saying you don't think this is a big story?
No, it's huge! This is a huge story! Are you crazy? It's all anyone here is talking about. It's everywhere. I was having breakfast at the Ivy this morning with Brad Pitt. Get me. And yes, I have a fabulous lifestyle you can only dream about. And he was...
I'm Anita Drachatani, and this is 15 Seconds. The headlines this hour. At home, a car, that's right, a car gets stuck up a tree in Basildon. In international news, Israel threatens. And sport, 2 new world records. That's it for now. More later.
Accused of both drowning and electrocuting his then-wife, the actress Sierra Nevada, by wiring the jacuzzi in their spectacular Mulholland Drive mansion to a nearby overhead.
Took a very negative view of our prospects, saying that an outbreak up here could be disastrous. Another had a more upbeat response, pointing out that at least we are very easy to quarantine. It's a waiting game. But then these guys know all about waiting. As one of my crewmates likes to say, you'll never wait less in space. Just his little joke. Let's hope it's not gallows humour.
And Nick, how would you describe the mood on board at the moment?
In a word, dire. Melanie.
Nick, thank you. Nick Burnham there in space. Katie.
Melanie, thank you. Melanie Bellamy there with the standing news. Coming up.
Still to come, you're watching.
A report out today suggests that British
children are now top of the league of stupid children in Europe when it comes to
reading and writing. The report, compiled by the European Commission for Childhood Stupidity, found that
British children have now outstripped all their continental peers when it comes to being
left behind. Our education correspondent, Paula Kay,
has this report.
A normal classroom in a typical school day, with bent pupils leaning carefully over their studious books.
The ECCS report found that out of every 7 British children, there were another 4 who couldn't write their own name, even on a piece of paper. And out of those which could, a further half couldn't read what they'd written once they'd written it. In one instant, for example, most children could neither spell the words handwriting or correctly. But how have these state of affairs come about? Whom are we to blame? And above all, what can be done about them? Here at this school in Birmingham. So that accident eastbound between junctions 17 and 18 on the A12 has now finished. OK, and out onto the roads now. This is the A41, just coming to the Bishop's Interchange. As you can see, pretty good at the moment, traffic flowing pretty normally. The A23, Minger Lane Slip Road now. Again, pretty good really. Couple of buses there, but otherwise traffic flowing quite well. The A312, Bigot's Foot. Again, as you can see, really quite a normal amount of traffic in both directions there. Very few buses.
To make Woodbridge Man top of the National Sperm Count League table.
So how do you feel to be one of the most potent men in the country?
Well, apparently they come out at an average speed of 76 miles an hour, which the way I look at it, that kind of speed, you're bound to hit something.
I had this idea, right? I was going to get a T-shirt printed.
And what would it say on it?
That's it, innit? I don't know.
Throughout all this, Mr. Vincenti, as will be no surprise, sat tight-lipped, staring straight ahead with his eyes. This is Lauren Peterson for IBS News, Los Angeles.
Lauren, thank you.
Julia, you got to say that trial has everything. I can't get over that guy is only 5'4".
I guess if nothing else, it tells you that even the rich and famous don't necessarily lead happy lives. It's 5:35.
I don't know, it sounds like they all had a pretty good time to me. Maybe what it's telling you is if you're rich and famous, it's great until you murder your wife. And you got trouble.
Worldwide Weatherwide update now with Alicia.
Julia, thank you.
Putting Jenson Button in pole position, although actual pole position is occupied by Juan Pablo Montoya.
What I can tell you, Francis, is that a few moments ago a woman wearing glasses went in through that door you could just see behind me. But so far she hasn't come back out. Now, who that woman was, where she was going, or why she was wearing glasses, we just can't say at this.
A205 Tesco Fly Under, looking okay. A16 Shepherd's Hump, yep, fine. A312 Bigot's Foot, we've had that already. It's still looking okay though. A
whole herd of celebs stampeding to tell us about their piles, hemorrhoids, cystitis. It's so tacky.
I'm afraid we're gonna have to love you and leave you. Before you go, any final thoughts?
Well, you know, we've had some fun with this story, but there's a serious side to it. We tend to imagine celebrities as a race of godlike super beings whose lives are nothing like ours. So a lot of celebrities here are saying to me, this is a great story for them. It reminds people that they're human too and that they have the same problems as the rest of us. And now maybe people like us will treat them with more compassion and understanding.
It's not gonna happen though, is it?
Are you kidding? No chance!
Josh Cashman, thank you.
Missing you already, Claudia.
Loving you madly. Now, we all know Mariah Carey drinks elephant.
James Flint for Lookout East, Beccles.
James Flint with that report from Beccles. Interesting story. Sign of the times.
Yeah, it certainly is. Then again, if you're going to have women judges, you've got to have women murderers for them to sentence.
Well, yes.
It's only fair. Where do you stand on the equality of the sexes, Russ?
Well, of course, I'm old enough to remember when you really didn't see that many women.
Oh, yes, the old days, eh? You had to know where to look for them.
Well, of course, I wouldn't know anything about that.
No, of course not.
Moving on, moving on.
So, a bit warmer today, Russ. What sort of a weekend have you got for us?
Yes, indeed, Sarah. Not too bad at all today. A little bit breezy up round the...
Before this next weather system out here to the west comes walloping in, bringing with it more weather together with...
So, if you are thinking about going out into the outside today, it might be worth taking a car with you just in case.
Another option is the mass issuing of paper masks.
All that coming up later on Film and Movie News. But we open this week's show with Slutty Behaviour. That's the provocative title of the new Todd Donner film starring July Sharon. It's billed as an unflinching and erotic look at the dark side of love and desire and opens across the UK this weekend. I caught up with Miss Sharon when she flew into London for its West End premiere. July, can I just say what a pleasure it is to be in a room with you. Having spent so much time drooling over you in cinemas, magazines and on posters, it's an absolute delight to discover that you're even more beautiful in person.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, I'll try not to drool over you here, but I can't make any promises.
Well, good luck.
And I apologise in advance if my eyes suddenly pop out on stalks like they do in cartoons, or if anything else pops out for that matter.
Okay.
It's just scaremongering, says Kate. In London, the media are full of these scare stories. If it's not tomatoes that are bad for you, it's bread or water or Ebola. It's just silly.
Killer tomatoes, asks Becky in Handsworth. Whatever next? Broccoli?
That's about all we've got time for on the money side. If we could just sum up the mood on the markets where you are. In a word, Tom.
Brisk.
Michelle.
Sluggish.
Kyoko.
Bullish.
Katrina.
Chintzy.
Johan.
Jazz.
Francis Xavier.
Pornographic.
Todd.
Caboodle.
Brett.
No, thanks.
Unanswered as the seconds tick away here behind me.
Without wishing to speculate, of course, Will, what's your sense of what some people are saying there in Athens tonight about what could be unfolding in that hospital?
Well, of course, the Greeks are a pretty phlegmatic lot at times like this, Francis. I spoke to one old man earlier in a cafe who didn't even bother to reply to me.
You managed to light up the screen in all your films, and as I say, I'm a huge fan of your body of work, and what a body it is.
Oh no, we're all going to die. I'm so scared, and I've been on antidepressants for 6 weeks, and I'm thinking about ending it all. That's from Bubbles in London.
Marks and Spencer's underwear is still all right. That's from Sam in Essex. I think that's in relation to our earlier business report.
These people think they can play God, but they can't. Only God can play God, if there is one. Very deep point there. That's from Z-Man.
When are we going to...
That's probably the A417 somewhere. A10, Cottager's Dip. Don't know where that is. Or that.
I'd be happy to see a film which was just the camera looking at you for 2 hours. That wouldn't be boring. That would be just great for me. You wouldn't be able to get me out of the cinema. I'd be glued to my seat, literally. They'd have to call you in to get me to stop looking at you. But even then, I'd still be stuck to my seat. You'd have to pull me off.
Well, I can't promise that.
Ah, shame. Now, your new film, Slutty Behaviour.
CBI's latest report showing that as working from home increases, so productivity has fallen.
Well, roll me in bubble wrap and call me a parcel. Who'd have thunk it? People working from home, not actually working from home? Any chimp worth their chutney could have told you that, Mitchell. We all know what happens when people say they're working from home. They're in the garden ramming a huge Cornish pasty down their neck, or they're down the boozer sinking the yeasty gargle. If they are on a PC, they're sitting in their pants playing Minesweeper or checking out the Swiss noughties. Surely this is a case of a memo not worth the post-it it's written on.
Well, I think that...
Beautiful, sassy, sexy, funny, charming, stylish, gorgeous, brilliant, jaw-dropping. Did I mention sexy?
I think you did.
OK. Can I say it again? Sexy, 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 sexy.
This will only affect boys, points out Claire in Coventry. Boys get the flu, girls get cold, so it stands to reason that only boys will die.
Some thick trousers, a flask of tea and some really stout sandwiches with you if you are thinking of
Air quality between 2 and 3 with the squinting index up around 5 or even 6 by the...
Not a great day, I'm afraid, for the Owling Championships up there in Cumbria.
And indeed, it's never over until the fat lady sings. But of course, in this case, we still don't know whether Dr. Apostopoulos is indeed a lady, and if she is a lady, whether or not she is fat. I certainly think it's unlikely she's going to sing.
That at just 9 years old, David McIntosh could become Britain's youngest ever mum. In a statement...
Catholic priests involved in illegally downloading inappropriate music from the internet.
July Sharon, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure and a personal highlight of my life. You've made me the happiest man on the planet. Thank you.
Well, it's been fun.
July Sharon there, quite probably the most delightful and glorious woman on earth. Talented with it, makes you sick. As does her new film, Slutty Behaviour. In it, Sharon is meant to be a siren beauty and irresistible, but her performance has all the allure of a scabies-ridden tramp who's eaten one of his legs off and then puked it into your face. By the end of the movie, I found her so unattractive, I'd rather have ogled my own gran, and she's dead and very decomposed. It's all about as erotic as watching fat, hairy old men with pendulous breasts and broken teeth wrestling naked in a fishmonger's. Slutty behaviour.
President Bush has spoken...
Victoria Beckham has revealed...
The Prime Minister said...
Osama bin Laden has issued...
Prince Charles has made...
Ozzy Osbourne has failed...
Developing the disease yourself whilst in total isolation.
Take lots of vitamins, that's my advice. Jed
Yes, indeed, Francis, there is indeed something happening here. Yes, this looks very much like the announcement we've been promised. This is it, I think. Here he comes now, just coming, as you can see, out onto the ramp here, behind me here. So at least we now know that he is a he. So this then, at last, is Dr. Apostopoulos.
Now we seem to have lost Will Parker there in Athens for the moment. Yes, we have lost him. Obviously, we'll go back to Athens as soon as we can. In the meantime, other news.
The 4 Christians will stand trial for the attempted murder of the controversial florist.
Britain's worst ever serial killing policeman.
Found the severed head in a luxury food hamper.
Terrorists may be targeting rural communities and keen ramblers.
The suspect package was later identified as a baguette, and it's thought it may have contained...
But first we return now to our main story. Scientists have confirmed tonight that an island in the middle of the Barents Sea has disappeared, sparking fears around the world that sea levels may be rising much faster since records began. This report from our Doomsday correspondent, Justin Ruston.
Next.
The helicopters and naval reconnaissance planes were out at dawn. This is where the island of Torströmval used to be. Now there's nothing but sea. Once it was a landmass of some 45 square miles of low-lying rock, moss and scurvy grass. Now it isn't. Once it was uninhabited except for a scientific survey station. Now there's nowhere to uninhabit. Once it was...
Everywhere, that is, with the exception of Scotland, which will be considerably colder.
Meaning it will be room temperature even if you're outside and not in a room at all.
Nightfall, when there'll be reduced visibility with prolonged patches of darkness.
In darts, Phil the Power Taylor cruised into the final of the Texas Classic in Shearside. Having already outclassed Steve the Voltage Volts and Andy G-Force Griffin, he romped past Ted, just call me Ted Johansson, in straight legs. He now meets Dave the Final Finnemore in the final. Ironically, it's the final's first final.
Swimming now and...
Was in her living room watching TV when 47-year-old Lionel Klipspringer, who weighs 370 pounds, came through the ceiling, completely wrecking both her sofa and her sister Vonda, who was sitting on it.
Mr. Klipspringer is a large individual. Most likely he was taking a shower and slipped. He was naked when he came through Miss Helmig's ceiling, and there was a quantity of water that came along with him.
For guillemots and bearded seals. Now they've gone. Once there was certainty in this world, now there's fear. And water, of course. 45 square miles of the stuff, more than there should be.
This is the very northernmost tip of northern Norway. Somewhere over there is Russia. Somewhere over there is Iceland, Greenland, beyond that Canada, and beyond that, if you go far enough, you come back out over there again. It's that kind of place. Until recently...
The most astonishing aspect of this story is that this is the 3rd time that Mr. Klipspringer has come through Ms. Helmig's ceiling in the last 4 years. The latest news we have on him at the moment is that he will remain in hospital overnight, his condition described as unwieldy. Julia?
All right, Miles, thank you. Miles Anderton there with that story from up there in Spokane, Washington. Anthony, I don't want to be unkind, but you're kind of glad you don't live underneath that guy, aren't you?
3 times in 4 years? Sheesh.
You kind of wonder why he doesn't move to the ground floor.
Right, Julia, I guess he kind of does move to the ground floor, right through the ceiling every few months. Isn't that the problem?
Well, you know, this is just another one of those obesity stories that makes you wonder where we're headed with our health in this country.
370 pounds? That's 2 people. How does that happen?
Well, you know, a lot of this has to do with education, with how we teach people to think about their food. It's a national issue for us right now.
Education? How much education do you need? You'd think once you get past, I don't know, say 300 pounds, you'd think you'd be starting to think, hey, are my pants tight or is it just me?
It's 11 after 5 and time for Worldwide Weather-Wide Update now with Alicia.
Julia, thank you.
Alicia, let me ask you this. You step out of the shower one morning and fall through the floor. Wouldn't you be starting to think, I don't know, hey, easy on the mayo?
Well, Anthony, I guess that depends. Certainly if you're living in Adat Abu Basama, Sudan right now, you'd be lucky to find a shower to get out of. Those guys here have not had rain for 6 years.
Whoa, that's too dry.
It is. And if we take a look at the satellite, we can...
Impossible to say whether the island has sunk or whether the sea levels have risen. The first possibility is worrying enough, but it's the second possibility which is terrifying. Normally contented observers in any part of the world, whether it's either land or sea. Because if the sea levels behind me here have indeed already risen by an amount sufficient to sink an island the size of Torströmval, then we may be facing the biggest environmental catastrophe in the history of the known world. And it may already be too late. Justin Rustin, ESN News, Nordkapp, Norway.
Justin Rustin there with that report from Norway. Stay with us.
That report from Justin Rustin.
Still to come, you're watching ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard.
Coming up, are trousers becoming
a damp start to the day, giving way to flash flooding later?
What at first might look like a flurry of snow, but is in fact flying mud.
Hello and welcome to Look Out East with Phil Kurdridge and Sarah Holt.
The front headlines from around the region where you are this night.
Chaos in Beccles tonight as a 28-stone woman goes on the rampage.
In Yoxford, sadness as a farmer stones himself to death.
And it's official. The region's teachers are the ugliest in Europe.
All that, and Russ is going to be here with the weather, aren't you, Russ?
If you say so, Sarah, if you say so.
Now, you're a Norfolk man, Russ.
Indeed so, Philip.
Ugly teachers there or not?
Well, I should be a bit careful what I say here, what with the old wife being a teacher.
Oh, goodness me, yes. We wouldn't want to see you grounded again.
No, indeed.
Grounded again?
Best not ask, I think, Sarah.
No, best not, perhaps.
I'm intrigued.
Let's not go there.
Moving on, moving on.
Oh, leaving Mrs. Russ out of this altogether, then, what do we think of our teachers?
Well, speaking personally, I think a lot depends on the subject.
Ah, right. Now, you're thinking languages here, aren't you?
I'm saying nothing, Philip. But we did have a French assistant one summer at the school I went to.
Oh, don't, please.
Honestly, you too.
I'm not saying anything, Sarah.
Best plan, mate. Don't go there, old lad.
Mais non, n'allez pas là.
Oh, n'allez pas là.
Nous allons, nous allons.
Well, she obviously taught you a good deal, Russ.
Alors, Sarah, n'allons-nous pas là.
Vraiment, vraiment.
Honestly, les hommes. More from Russ later. Now, drugs. It's a while since the...
Eat my gag! Coming up later, we round up all the latest celebrity nosebleeds. Oh, yeah!
But first, we go to a man lying in the gutter looking up at the stars. Coming at ya all the way from LA and dishing the dirt like a dinner lady turned dustman is Josh Cashman. Josh, how's it hanging?
Like a beautiful painting in a very exclusive gallery.
Oh, easy there, Tiger.
Well, ask a stupid question.
That's my job.
And you're very good at it, honey. Well done, you.
So, the words star and wars, not normally heard together in Hollywood. What's going on?
Oh, my God!
As we know, if we represent the history of the Earth as a 24-hour day, human beings evolved at 1 minute to midnight. But if the world is about to end, what time is it now? According to the UN, it's 6 seconds to midnight. The US, which has always been sceptical of what it calls environmental alarmists, takes a much more upbeat stance. The US Environmental Agency calculates we are only at 9 seconds to midnight. At the other extreme, the World Wildlife Fund, who've traditionally been the most pessimistic of observers, think we might already be at 1 second to midnight.
Enormous pressure after his failure to deliver on the promise of a 12-month turnaround.
Oh, you've got to admire his cojones, Mitchell, haven't you? He's not just flying by the seat of his pants, he's doing it blindfolded in a cave full of stalagmites. If he hadn't come in all nostrilled up, giving it the big I am Charlie Tough potatoes, he'd be sitting pretty on Gaffer Street now, necking back the bauble juice, singing Fly Me to the Moon with a pocket full of treacle, wouldn't he?
And Lucas is like, your films suck. And Spielberg is like, hello, your films suck. And Lucas is like, yeah, right. And Spielberg is like, yeah, right. And you know, these guys were like a great team. And in a way, it's just really sad to see.
I suppose it's kind of depressing in a way?
Yeah, it is if you're like a total gimpoid. Are you kidding? It's the best thing ever. It's pure sex.
But first, more on our main story tonight. The island of Torstromval in the Barents Sea has disappeared
completely, sparking fears that sea levels around the world may be rising
faster than scientists can measure.
Many areas of Britain are preparing themselves for the worst, and our
reporter Katie Willard is with one such community in Lincolnshire. Katie.
Adam, yes. I'm here in the Lincolnshire village of Thedlethorpe St Helen, here on the North Sea coast of Lincolnshire. Now, of course, Lincolnshire is exactly the kind of county that could end up vanishing from the face of the earth very soon indeed, if the scientists and geologists have their way. Now, this is actually a street in the village, and somewhere inside this house lives the Marby family, who've occupied it ever since they moved here 7 years ago. Now, Chris Marby works as a quantity surveyor in his 40s, and his wife Amanda works part-time as a relief and also looks after the upkeep of their marriage. And I think they're in here somewhere having a cup of coffee. Yes, here they are. I hope you don't mind me disturbing your cup of coffee.
No, of course not.
No. Now, Chris, I believe you've already started to think about what would happen if, as now seems likely, sea levels begin to rise horrifically in the very near future.
Yes, that's right.
Good. Amanda, what will it mean to you if this kitchen extension does become part of the North Sea?
Well, obviously, we're always very aware of the sea.
Yes.
That's partly why we moved here, to be close to the sea.
But what about being under it, though?
Well, obviously, with all this news in the media about the island disappearing, it's a very worrying time for us.
Yes.
But we've done a bit of research on the internet, haven't we?
Yes, we have, yes.
Right, well, better let you get back to your coffee. Chris and Amanda Marby, thank you very much. Chris and Amanda Marby...
Spokesperson for Manchester United denied that establishing other Manchester Uniteds in China, the US, Australia, Japan, Scotland, Ireland and London would make the club any less unique or be in any way confusing.
Can a heart attack really be good for you?
They said it couldn't happen, but it has. So what now?
Is the past a thing of the past? A new survey...
Stay with us.
Coming up.
Shortly.
I was captured by insurgents. I was beaten, of course, tortured, horribly tortured. It was a low point. The thing that got me through, the thought of telling the story, getting the truth out there. That's what drove me to escape. I was shot at, of course, horribly shot at. I lost a lot of skin, but I got the truth out there. I got the story out there. Would I do it again? In an instant.
IBS, this is what we do for you.
Clearly already trying to come to terms with the full enormity of what this potentially humanitarian disaster could spell out for them all across Lincolnshire. Now, one of the most distressing aspects of their circumstances for Chris and Amanda is that they have 2 children, both of whom are at school, at sea level, and are about to take important exams. And I think we'll find them both.
Here are these 2 guys, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, who've been friends forever. And suddenly they're screaming at each other and there's handbags and biting and spitting and blood. It blew my mind. My mind was literally...
They went, as they always do at this time of the year, to man the scientific survey station for a month. A group of 6 Norwegian scientists looking forward to the isolation of their instruments and the comfort of their measurements. But there were no instruments and there are no measurements. This is where...
Since dawn this morning, searching for the missing island. Their task hopeless, their mission pointless, their helicopter Italian. Again and again...
Fine. Older sister, Lily. Now, she's 17, and she's actually Ben's older sister, and she's in the next room. And at 17, she's actually older than Ben, as well as being his sister, which, of course, is very much how it tends to be in families like this here in Lincolnshire. And she's 17. She's actually Ben's older sister, and she's also revising, but this time... for her A-levels. Lily, hi.
Hi.
I hope you don't mind me disturbing you from your revision for a moment.
No, of course not.
Now, of course, the Marbys aren't the only family in Thedlethorpe St Mary to be hit by...
If you don't love this story, you're either in a coma or dead. Or both.
Thanks for that, Josh. That's all for now. We'll catch up with you later on.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
The guy's a genius. Now.
Quick look at the news websites. A quick glance at the blogs.
High build-up of pressure causing some stress clouds and possible storm rage. Brief roundup of the podcast.
Thedlethorpe has a population of some 580 different people, many of whom, like people all over Lincolnshire tonight, fearful that if sea levels have indeed already started to rise faster than evidence suggests, then everything they've spent their lives working towards could end up in Nottinghamshire. Now, Fred Claxby, you come from
I'm not actually him, I'm just standing here.
Right. Fred Claxby, you come from a long fishing line of families which have been intimately associated with the sea here on the Lincolnshire coast for many generations before them. Both your grandfather and your uncle lost their lives at sea. Your son is currently a member of the lifeboat crew just down the coast in Mablethorpe, and you're going to be utterly devastated by the loss of this entire coastline, as will many others like you, possibly within weeks. Well, as you can see, a mixture of sadness, misery and dread up here on the Lincolnshire coast tonight. But for now, it's back to Adam and Francis in the studio.
Katie, thank you.
Katie Willard with
that report from Lincolnshire.
Other news now.
Could be seeing small businesses really getting squeezed and some, sadly, going to the wall.
But isn't that just survival of the jungle, Mitchell? If Mad Derek wants to set up a business, he's given it all the flaps, but he hasn't put in the donkey. Why should I care if he sinks like Andy Gravel? I mean, if he's giving it all, you want eggs, I've got eggs that are so good they're practically ham, but he hasn't got eggs, they're definitely not ham. Why should I sit up the long winter night doing a French lieutenant's woman with a juicy eyeball? He's gone purple, I'm supposed to sing the closing Frank. It's not going to happen. Why should I?
Gangs of teenage hoodies, high on heroin and crack, sweeping through neighbourhoods like this one behind me night after night, setting fire to cars, trees, family pets, in fact anything and everything in their sight, while residents cower in their houses until dawn breaks, when they can venture back outside and begin the exhausting process of clearing up all over again. But could this actually happen? Councillor Tom...
You're watching ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard.
Coming up next, Tibet or not Tibet, controversy over suggestions that the man claiming to be the world's oldest living man is in fact dead.
And Osama bin Laden, how the world's most wanted man could actually be living in Las Vegas.
All that still to come up. But first, here's Melanie with the standing news.
Now.
Katie, thank you. I'm Melanie Bellamy, and this is the standing news. Up until now, talk of global warming and rising sea levels has been worrying, but perhaps a little theoretical. Something we'll need to start worrying about someday soon. Now, as an island the size of an entire island disappears completely, it looks as if we may have finally run out of road. So what does this all mean for our planet? Now, as you know, ESN news reporter Nick Burnham is embedded with a shuttle crew on the International Space Station, and he joins us now in space. Nick, what's your sense from your unique vantage point up there of what's happening down here?
Melanie, I have to say that from up here, there doesn't seem to be a great deal going on down there. Now, of course, that may just be the effect of perspective, or indeed lack of food, but nevertheless...
Too late for a tragedy to occur, by which time it will have already happened. Penny Watson, look out east, Lowestoft.
Penny Watson there in Lowestoft with that disturbing report.
Yes, it certainly is disturbing. What's gone wrong with the world?
Progress, I suppose.
I mean, I'm just about old enough to remember the 60s. I don't mind admitting it. And yeah, there were drugs around. My goodness me, there were. But we didn't go around murdering each other.
No.
All you really wanted to do was take your clothes off and stumble about.
Well, speak for yourself, obviously.
Well, you're far too young to remember the 60s, Sarah. You're never but a mere girl. What do you reckon, Russ? What's gone wrong with the world?
Well, yes, let's just say I've no idea.
Well, you must remember the 60s, though.
Oh, I do indeed, Philip. A group of us did actually go to the Isle of Wight.
Look out, here we go.
Not actually to the festival, Sarah, I have to say, but a very memorable time, nonetheless, very memorable. A group of us in a tent.
Ah, I see where this is going.
I'm saying nothing, Philip.
No, I don't blame you, old lad.
Honestly, you two.
And this would be with young Mrs. Russ, would it, before all the little Russes came along?
No, it wasn't, as a matter of fact, no.
Oh.
Right.
No.
Right, before her time, perhaps?
Yes, no, this was someone else, yes.
Well, moving on, moving on.
Yes, onwards and downwards.
More from Russ later.
Yes, indeed. Now, teachers. We don't necessarily expect them all to look like Abby Titmus or...
Shows alarmingly that the maximum attention span for the modern 17-year-old now stands at just 11 seconds. The study offers a dystopian vision of a future where old people with longer attention spans will eventually die out, only to be replaced by a generation of people unable to do things like drive trains, stay married, or perform surgical procedures of any kind.
What's worse, it may already be too late to do anything about it. The young people here in this GCSE examination may look diligent enough, but the truth is that most of them are likely to have forgotten the question they were answering long ago, and by now may in all probability already be writing drivel. Richard Harbinger, PVS News, London.
Richard Harbinger with that report.
That report from Richard Harbinger there.
You're watching PVS News with Adam Lockwood and Francis
Walsh. Still to come, why worry has
overtaken both cancer and heart disease as the biggest
single cause of paranoia in Britain today.
In Baghdad, we have a series of car bomb
explosions to take you through.
But first...
Since first light, searching nautical square mile after nautical square mile of featureless ocean. Much of it nothing more than sea and wind, in the hope of...
The people around me have been sent up here to do a job. They've been trained to do that job, and they're going to do it. And then, as one crew member expressed to me earlier, get the hell out of this crap house and have ourselves some gravity. Now, whether when they get back home the water comes a few more inches up their trouser leg than it used to, I really don't think they're going to be that concerned. Melanie.
Nick, thank you. Nick Burnham there in space. Richard.
Melanie, thank you. Melanie Bellamy with the standing news. Stay with us. Coming up...
Still to come. Later in the programme, the main news tonight. But first...
Coming up next, a roundup of everything that you've heard so far.
Defense Department spokesman Elliot Schultz opined that this was a critical breakthrough in the war against terror, describing Mr. al-Zakari as number 3 on the so-called dating list of wanted al-Qaeda terrorists.
Our message to those who are left is they should be afraid. They know exactly where they are. And if we ever find that out, we're coming.
Leanne Williams, IBS News, Washington.
Leanne Williams with that report from Washington. It's 20 after 5. Anthony, they keep bringing these men in. You wonder how many of them are left out there now.
Well, Julia, I guess if they got to number 3, there's 2 left.
Right, I'm not sure that's exactly how it works.
Bin Laden and some other guy.
I don't think they're necessarily working their way up the list like that.
Well, how many people are on the list anyway? Does anybody know?
Anthony, if I recall, I believe there were 22 names on the list when the president first announced it.
22, that's not a list. It has to be a multiple of 10, doesn't it?
I guess it depends what it's a list of.
Hey, you know what I think they should do? They should just take Bin Laden off the list. Just take him right off, see how he likes that. Make an announcement.
It's 21 after 5.
As of last week, Mr. Bin Laden has been dropped out of the top 100. That'd do it. Guy'd go nuts, probably come flying right out of his cave, right out into the open.
Anthony, it's a thought.
You heard it right here first.
We'll be back with day 57 of the Peter Vicente murder trial in Los Angeles. Plus, the story of how scientists in Europe have managed to mislay an entire island.
Trust us, this you gotta hear.
A new report out today reveals that attention spans for young people in Britain have fallen dramatically. The average attention span for a 17-year-old is now just 11 seconds.
I'm Anita Jachatani, and this is 15 Seconds. The headlines this hour. At home, David Beckham denies it, and in Europe, it's all change. That's it for now. More later. See you shortly.
In just 10 years' time, according to their predictions. So what will the world look like? Well, let's take a look. According to their projections, this is how London will look in 10 years' time. Almost unrecognisable. By contrast, New York will look like this. Exactly the same. The Caribbean could look like this. Venice will look like this. While Las Vegas, a decade on, would look like this. It's certainly a frightening...
Attention spans for Britain's teenagers have backlog of cloud, meaning that some regions can expect severe weather delays, with weather not arriving until late morning in some of those.
Out today suggests that attention spans...
In a gold lame jacket. All that coming up later on Film and Movie News. But first, we take a look at Shadows of Blood. The new chiller that shows Hollywood's obsession with horror is far from over. I spoke to the film's child star, the ubiquitous wunderkind, Callie Quinn.
We've all heard the expression, never work with children or animals, but they're going to have to change that to never work with children or animals, but always work with Callie Quinn.
Really? Cool.
You're a far better actor than anyone your age has any right to be. I don't know how you do it. It's incredible.
Thanks, Sarah. Reports of stationary traffic all over the country today in all directions. Engineering and traffic jams are the major culprits. Out onto the roads now.
How I dress in my private life is up to me. And believe me, I can be as raunchy as the next man. But when I come to school in the morning, I'm a teacher. I leave my appearance outside the gate.
Margaret Wilson, thank you. Well, obviously, beauty or beast, this is one debate that will continue to stampede its way through the region's blackboard jungles for some time to come. Now back to Sarah and Philip in the studio.
Nick, thank you. Nick Andrews with that report from Leiston. Interesting stuff.
Certainly is. That headmistress makes a good point, though. We can't all be Carol Smiley.
That's true.
I used to have a teacher who was a spitting image of Oliver Hardy.
Really?
Moustache the lot.
I imagine you had a good time thinking up nicknames for him.
Well, Fatso, obviously.
Yes, of course. Now, Russ, what sort of a weekend have you got for us? No more tornadoes, I hope.
Well, I'll do my best, Sarah. I'll do my best. No, really quite a pleasant weekend in store this weekend. We'll still have that drizzle, obviously, but...
A729, Jaffa's Hat, traffic crawling at a snail's pace. Avoid that if you can. M9 at the Maracas. Probably best to find an alternative jam. A30.
Attention span.
Attention.
There you were in your last film, acting Russell Crowe off the screen, and you made him look like a big, hairy idiot.
I'm going clockface trying to turn sweat into jam here. This is a classic case of the EU dropping their trousers and fighting on my breakfast, isn't it?
A98, Marxist salute, exactly what you'd expect for this time of day at this time of year. A773, the potato wedge, again, as you'd expect, much of a muchness. A832, Ted Hughes intersection. There you go.
What's all the fuss about? You never cared when the island was there, so you shouldn't care about it now that it's gone. You're all eco-freaky, hemp-weaving hypocrites. That's from Robert. Thanks for that, Robert.
I live in Cornwall.
Since daybreak again this morning, beneath them a sea stretching in every conceivable direction at once, making it almost
incredibly intelligent without being precocious, utterly charming without being ingratiating, moving without being sentimental, and just so genuinely lovely and charming and intelligent, bright and smart and clever, talented.
As I always say to the girls at my line dancing class, I think global warming is a good thing if it means we get a nice summer, says Margaret in Kent, echoing a lot of emails we're receiving.
The government should have seen this coming. It's always the same. An island has to sink before anyone does anything. That's from Colin. Thanks, Colin.
Finding a babysitter is a nightmare. I have to get my children to do it, says Joanne. I think that's in relation to our earlier report on childcare.
Reopened the row when he said that women football players should do that sexy grunting the tennis chicks do. However, a spokesman for
Callie Quinn, it's just been such a good laugh. I mean, that's not work, is it? It's just been so great hanging out. It's almost been as cool as watching your films. It's just been really, really cool. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's been really cool.
Cool. Callie Quinn there. What a charming young man he is. And at the tender age of 9, he's already provided some star turns to savour. Sadly, not in this film, though, in which he is atrocious. His performance is so nauseating, I thought I was going to spew with such organ-shattering ferocity, my liquefied kidneys would be forced out of my nose. They say small children should be seen and not heard. In this case, though, that should be sacked and not paid. If this is a taste of things to come, let's hope he's burnt out and washed up by 10. Here are just a few words that run through your mind while watching him. Slurry, squalor, diseased.
Meanwhile, Mr. Vincenti himself, as he has done for most of this trial, chose to sit impassively on his chair. This is Lauren Peterson for IBS News, Los Angeles.
Lauren Peterson there at the Vicente trial in Los Angeles. You're watching IBS News with Julia Reagan and Anthony Markovitz. Anthony, you start to wonder just what else that trial has left.
Julia, you do. I'll tell you one thing. If you marry your sister, you got complications. I don't care how good looking she is.
All right. It's a little after 5:35.
If sea levels are indeed already rising faster than we thought they were going to rise in the future, then adapt.
That concentrated area of depression set to remain possibly for some years.
The kind of weather that could frighten pets and some religious people.
The sea is a cruel mistress. Yet again, the sea has behaved unconscionably. It's time to address this terrible problem that is the sea. Interesting take there from Captain Neddy. Thanks, Captain.
I'm glad I didn't buy a house there. I wasn't going to, but I'm glad I didn't anyway. That's from Paul in Berkshire.
Few of the signs that could signify impending catastrophe. Sea levels rise, temperatures rise, house prices rise.
Like looking for a rocky needle in some impossibly wet and shifting haystack.
The issue of racism in chess has reared its ugly head once again.
Watery way of life is going to become very much the norm for people in places like New Romney, currently 4 miles inland from here, as they go about their daily lives. I have with me...
Increase in extinct species, seas boil.
Very pleasant day ahead for most of us. Expanse of water, literally a sea of waves.
Assuming for the moment that our assumptions...
Coming up at the top of the hour. But right now, we've got Alicia coming right at you with the weather news. And Alicia, I believe you have an exclusive for us from Europe today.
Julia, that's correct, I do.
Oh boy, I love this story.
Me too.
Scientists in Europe would appear to have lost an island. Yep, you heard me right. They've lost an entire island, together with the survey station they have on it.
Keep drinking the wine, fellas.
"14 people were injured when a fight broke out in a patisserie."
New research from tobacco companies suggesting cigarettes may double your IQ was...
Eyewitnesses say that one eyewitness lost an eye, although other eyewitnesses claim that...
Now, as we've been following all this week, preparations are underway all over the
country for events to mark tomorrow's anniversary of the middle of World War II. Halfway There Day, or SOB Friday as it became affectionately known, was the
point at which the Allies' struggle to defeat Adolf Hitler's Germany reached its halfway mark. Preparations
are underway all over the country for events to mark tomorrow's anniversary. And today our
reporter Katie Willard is in Kent to see how preparations are going there. Kate, where are you?
Yes, indeed, Francis. I'm here at Newchurch Airfield in Kent. Now a private airfield, but back in 1942, this was very much a a wartime place to be.
A scan after the games suggested his leg was still alive and it was taken to nearby Harrington Hospital for further examination. Isley is expected to be fit in time to play in next week's big game against Hull.
Motor racing now, and Rubens Barrichello's suspected hamstring injury has now been confirmed as a broken arm.
It's going to be an amazing day of celebrations in the capital. Here's just a few of the highlights. In Ladbroke Grove, watch out for the Battle of Britain aerial skateboard display. Vauxhall Underground Station will be holding a recreation of an air raid. Visitors will be encouraged to sleep over for 3 days and 3 nights. In St John's Wood, residents will be able to claim a free latte until lunchtime. Meanwhile, Hyde Park boasts an open-air reggae festival. That's going to be a popular destination, I think. In Stoke Newington, you can help a record-breaking attempt to make the world's biggest baba ganoush. In the East End, there'll be a pearly reenactment of the Blitz, whatever that means. And the climax of the day, on the stroke of midnight, the Thames will be turned into a river of fire. It's never been done before, and it promises to be an amazing spectacle.
ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard. Stay with us.
Still to come up later, butter side up, how toast can improve your sex life.
Road to nowhere. Suggestions tonight that the M25, Britain's busiest road, could be scrapped because it doesn't actually go anywhere.
As well, of course, as Canadians. But 864 Squadron was actually a New Zealand squadron. And one of those brave new young Zealanders who survived the war actually stayed in England and married his wartime sweetheart. And over here is someone who's got very good cause to be glad he did. Now, Julia Redfern, if your father Jim hadn't come over here, hadn't been stationed here at Newchurch, then you wouldn't be here at all, would you?
No, that's right. I wouldn't be here. He met my mother in the summer of 1942, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Indeed, you must be very proud of him.
Actually, yes, I am very proud.
Now, I believe you've still got a number of items from the uniform that your father actually wore.
Yes, I have.
Good. Now, one of the sadder aspects of tomorrow's commemorations of Halfway There Day is that with every passing year, there are fewer and fewer of those alive today.
Bringing with it brighter, flowerier weather with spells of fluffiness building up in some...
If we look at the effect on the allergy quotient, we can see that it could be as high as 7 in some of the filthier areas.
Longer outbreaks of rain or drizzle over the more southerly areas of Paraguay, really from Puerto Presidente down through.
Welcome to Look Out East with Phil Kerdridge and Sarah Holt.
The utmost stories from around this region where you are tonight.
Outrage as plans are unveiled to build Europe's biggest working eyesore in Suffolk.
In Lowestoft, another man arrested for trafficking illegal suppositories.
All that plus, we take a walk down memory lane as preparations continue to commemorate Halfway There Day across the region tomorrow.
And talking of memory lane, Russ is here with the weather prospects, aren't you, Russ?
Indeed I am, Phil, indeed I am.
You probably remember Halfway There Day yourself, don't you?
I'm not quite that old, Sarah.
You actually think Russ has probably forgotten where memory lane is, haven't you, Russ?
Steady on, Phil, steady on.
Moving swiftly on.
Let's not go there.
Don't go there.
Honestly, you boys. More from Russ later.
Yes, indeed.
Now, fears are growing tonight for the safety of a Diss family who have failed to return home from a barbecue 4 months ago. Norfolk police have launched a...
Harold Snook was just 21 years old on Halfway There Day, but now, as a sprightly 85-year-old, he's been visiting St Mary's Primary School once a week to tell the children there about his experiences as a fighter pilot based here at Newchurch all those years ago. Harold, how do you feel about becoming a hero all over again?
Pardon?
The idea is the brainchild of teacher Linda Hill. Linda, hi.
Hello.
Now, I understand as part of the celebrations tomorrow, your class here are going to be performing a song which they've written and composed specially about Harold and which they're going to be singing for us now.
Yes, that's right, yes. They've written all the words and the music themselves.
Wonderful. Well, when you're ready, take it away. Well, as you can see, many thought-provoking emotions here in Kent tonight as tomorrow's Halfway There Day commemorations approach. Katie Willard, PVS News, Kent.
A spokesman for Fudders later confirmed that an employee had earlier lost a finger in an accident, but had not reported it because he was convinced it would show up. Meanwhile, Mr. Stower is saying he probably won't be trying frozen chocolate custard again anytime soon. Miles Anderton for IBS News in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Miles Anderton there with what I guess you have to call that chilling report.
Ooh, can I open my eyes now? Is it safe?
It's 10 after 5.
Okay, a little chocolate chip, maybe some of those little nutty things at the most, but some guy's finger, that is not an ice cream.
And of course it starts to get serious when you think of the legal implications.
Starts to get serious? Well, it's already serious. You got a knuckle in your custard, that's a serious situation.
You know, there was that case with the granola a while back in Los Angeles. Same thing happened. Before you know it, they're suing the employees for millions of dollars of lost sales.
Yeah, I don't get it. Do you think these guys would take better care of their fingers? It's not like they're hard to control. They're right there on the end of your hand.
It's 10 after 5.
You want fewer fingers? You join the wrong species.
More on those tragic SUV murders in Nebraska coming up, but right now it's time for a worldwide weather-wide update with Alicia.
Julia, thank you.
Tell us something nice, Alicia.
Well, Anthony, I can tell you this. If you're living in Wuhan, China right now, you're going to need all the fingers you got. If we take a look...
The Bank of England downplaying suggestions that interest rates will need to be adjusted radically in the coming months.
Eh? Surely they've lost the plot on this one, haven't they? They've all gone tonto. You can see plain as Poppadons a slump's going to come and smack us in the dibdabs. All the signs are there. So when the rain comes, we're going to see the nieces pushing the uncles down the Cheshire trouser pipes, aren't we?
Well,
Elton John trips over a chihuahua and breaks his nose.
He's not still standing.
Bang! Killer line!
If I carry on like this, they'll want me for murder.
And finally, Paris Hilton's cameo in The Simpsons is cut because her acting is just so bad.
Turns out, as well as being a girl who can't say no, she's also a girl who can't say don't.
It's gold! We've hit the comedy gold. This is it right here.
Somebody call the emergency services. I'm on fire.
I wondered what that unpleasant smell was.
No, that's because I haven't had a shower. And speaking of dirt, it's time to join our man in La La Land. Josh, how's the wacky world of California?
The usual dreary round of glamorous premieres and star-studded parties. It's hell. Honey, I bet you're so glad you're not me.
In so many ways, I am.
So, Josh, we hear Ricky Evans is in the news.
Oh, mercy!
63 years ago tomorrow, when the mere thought of having made the halfway point brought a smile to their young faces, allowing them brief respite from the daily diet of sardines, fear, and death.
Thanks, Sarah. And I'm happy to report a lot of delays around the country today, with a lot of traffic standing at a standstill still, being slowed down by a high volume of slow-moving traffic ahead of it. Elsewhere now. A186, Fiddler's Elbow, inside lane, hard shoulder, slip road, exit slip road and outside lane, all closed northbound and southbound, eastbound and westbound between junctions 11A and 12. Long tailbacks leading to inadvertent speed restrictions coming into force there. A322, suspect flyover, very slow.
The effect of this is going to be some quite high sinus levels, I'm afraid, particularly in the more southerly areas where it could get up as high as the low 400s in some of the more...
Later in the day, with some warmer air moving down through Tibet and into the Bataan region by tea time.
Coming up, should we flee the country? Apparently we should. But why and how and to where? Stay...
In Pakistan, 28...
People are feared fatally dead when a packed minibus full of suicide bombers collides with...
Could men become illegal? That's the...
But first...
Coming up.
Shortly.
This boy is the biggest disaster area since Michael Jackson's face.
So, Josh, what's the scoop, Snoop?
2 words. Off the rails. I've hyphenated those last 2 words, FYI, for your information. He's just gone Fruit Loop Doolally. We're talking next stop, Insanityville.
More from Russ later.
Inevitably so, Sarah, inevitably so.
Now, of course, as Sarah was saying earlier, 63 years ago tomorrow is the anniversary of Halfway There Day. And right across the region, people will be out in force to try and remember what that means. And as Nick Andrews discovered, tomorrow promises to be an almost unbearably emotional day for one 85-year-old Beccles man.
63 years ago tomorrow, the British wartime people may have allowed themselves a cup of reflective tea as they reached the halfway stage in the war against Adolf Hitler's Germany. But they knew now that there was at least as far to go again if it was ever going to end.
On that day, Anthony Dixon was a 22-year-old Spitfire pilot facing certain death every day. Now he's one 85-year-old man in Beccles, for whom it all still seems just like yesterday.
It all seems a jolly long time ago now, I must say.
For him, tomorrow will be a day to remember the time when, as a young man at the age of just 22, he knew that the chances of him surviving the 63 years in order to remember, as an 85-year-old, the time when, as a young man of just 22...
A666, Devil's Haircut, expect long delays when traffic starts moving. AA53, Stadler's Waldorf, even more cars. A64595, Fruit Corner, cars. A46...
Together with quantities of industrial-strength mustard hidden inside bottles of fabric conditioner. Police believe the men plan to mix the mustard with quantities of gas to form the deadly gas mustard gas, which would then be released in confined spaces where people gather to breathe, such as London and Sheffield, with consequences that could potentially have been inevitable.
And Dick, presumably there's a deep sense of shock all around you in that neighbourhood tonight.
Indeed so, Francis, very deep indeed. I have to say there's almost a sense of disbelief here tonight that two men who neighbours describe as polite and never here could be capable of mass murder on any scale, let alone slaughter of this magnitude. Francis.
Dick, thank you. Richard Harbinger there in Wolverhampton.
That report from Richard Harbinger in Wolverhampton. Rick, thanks.
Now, as we've been following all this...
And the board seem to be signalling that may not be the case, so sadly back to square one for Marks and Spencer's.
Aren't we all sick to the needles of this one, Mitchell? It seems like every year it's the same thing and we're having to yak on about how M&S do nice underwear and lovely grub. Why don't they just combine the two core things? Edible pants.
It's very hard to say at this stage, Philip, and even that might just be speculation. We're being told that police will be holding a press conference sometime later today. But of course, exactly what that means is another matter altogether. What we do know is that the people of this sleepy market town are in a state of rural shock. Wiltshire is a very tight-knit community of grim-faced people, and no one here that I have talked to today has told me anything worth...
That really was rather unpleasant. But one got on with it.
And what are your memories of Halfway There Day itself?
Well, the trouble with Halfway There Day was that, of course, at the time, one had no bloody idea which day it actually was, until the day that the war had ended.
Right, but apart from that, though, looking back on it now, what were your emotions at the time?
Well, didn't really have emotions, one just got on with it. There was no other option.
Right, but apart from that...
Out searching the fields around the town itself, square metre by square metre. But so far they have found absolutely no sign of specially trained sniffer dogs or thermal imaging devices.
A118, gay interchange, as you can see. A212, back.
He got arrested in a park one night for allegedly molesting a salamander. And after that, he held a press conference where he said, I quote, "I know you're trying to steal my face, but it's not gonna happen. My face is staying where it belongs, on the front of my head."
Foiled a major terrorist plot to poison up to hundreds of thousands of ordinary people with the deadly toxin mustard gas. The people live in cities such as London and the northern city of Sheffield. Stay with us.
Still to come, you're watching ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard.
So, as the number of people in the population who can expect to be slaughtered in the next few years rises, what effect will this have on house prices?
Amanda Panda has been out and about to find out.
Stay with us. Still to come.
A familiar scene. A terraced street in a desirable part of...
Changed women's lives forever, with many of them learning new skills such as driving bombs or moving tiny replica arrows around giant walls, using only stepladders and their natural sense of
In the meantime, for the people of this nondescript provincial town somewhere in Wiltshire, the waiting goes on. When that waiting will be over, or indeed what it is they're waiting for, is almost impossible to...
Oh yeah, he drove to Mexico, got drunk, got a quickie wedding with a dwarf hooker, passed out, woke up, forgotten he'd done it, did it again, but married a different dwarf hooker, got arrested for bigamy. Or should I say small-amy?
Josh, that is quite weird.
Tell me about it. I mean, how do you find more than one dwarf hooker to get down with? And I mean really down with. I don't know, it blows my mind. Holy moly, whoa, Joe! And other things that, like, you know, rhyme and stuff.
Not going to be able to go home that way. Oof, no. Oh dear. Well, that's a dinky little moped.
But what did that mean in real terms? Well, here are the statistics. In chronological terms, we were exactly 50% through the war. However, only as little as 29.7% of the war had actually been won. In geographical terms, only 21% of battlegrounds had been taken. At home, we were already feeling the pinch, with 42% of all ladies' stockings being...
And once this has sheared away south, we should find dearer, waftier air breezing in behind.
Will eventually move away down towards Kazakhstan, with brighter, showerier weather moving in behind it.
All that still to come. But first, still to come.
In Rome, Pope Benedict XVI urges the world's 5 billion Catholics to spend less time indoors.
And the end of the road for rain, as the idea of free water falling from the sky finally bites the dust, we have an affectionate look back at our relationship with the gardener's friend. But first, as the nation gears up to celebrate Halfway There Day, here's Melanie with the Standing News.
Katie, thank you. I'm Melanie Bellamy, and this is the Standing News.
As the nation prepares to commemorate Halfway There Day, final preparations are underway for tomorrow's parade in central London, where surviving veterans will be joined by members of today's armed forces, the Queen and other members of the royal family, and senior politicians. Our significant occasions correspondent Nicholas Michaelmas is in Whitehall. Nick, what can you tell us about how much we know about the route the parade will take?
Melanie, the route will follow that taken by many memorable state occasions down through the Mall. The parade will start in Hyde Park at midday with a full 21-gun salute. It will then leave the park before making its way movingly down Constitution Hill, past Buckingham Palace, down the Mall, before turning right into Whitehall and ending up pretty much where I'm walking now.
And Nick, for many of those involved, this is presumably going to be a very moving occasion.
Melanie, very moving indeed. I was speaking to some of the veterans who've made their way to London especially for this occasion, and although they didn't say so themselves, you get a real sense of just how moving this is likely to be.
Of course, there is a serious issue here, and it's actually quite tragic, and we shouldn't mock.
So, if he's having a breakdown, why doesn't his agent put him in a clinic?
Exactly.
Exactly what, Josh?
Exactly. He's not having a breakdown. He's doing it for the publicity.
So it's a case of all publicity is good publicity?
No way. No one looks good with publicity this bad. He might as well have set fire to a rabbi. It's hideous. His career is all...
Sean Kiernan has become the 8th fastest English player to score 2 goals on an international debut after having already debuted for another country in the women's game, if that makes sense.
Heath Armstrong's attempt to become the fastest ever person to cycle round the world ended in bizarre fashion yesterday when he collided with Jansen Burl, who was bidding to become the fastest man to drive round the world the other way. Armstrong is...
I'm Anita Drachapthani, and this is 15 Seconds in 15 Seconds. The headlines this hour. Here, it's that time again. There, it's that man again. And sport, golf. That's it for now, and more later.
And Nick, what's your overall sense of how moving this whole occasion is likely to be?
Melanie, there's a very real sense here that this could indeed be seriously moving.
Are you dead from the neck up? He's more famous than he's ever been. Everyone is hooked. This is better than crack. Best thing ever!
Biggest story of the year?
No way.
Josh, we're going to have to leave it there.
Hand! That's have a nice day, FYI.
Liking that. Now,
Police are working on a number of other theories about the Johnsons' whereabouts, including that they may simply have got lost on the way back from the barbecue and may still be trying to find their way back here to their house, or that they're actually in there somewhere but won't come out for some reason. But as time goes increasingly on, the worry now is that this young family may already have been abducted and in one way or another butchered to death. Penny Watson, Look Out East, Dis.
Penny Watson there in Dis. Worrying story.
Yes, it certainly is. Dangerous things, barbecues.
Yep.
What do you make of them, Russ?
Barbecues? Well, I'm actually a bit partial to a bit of a fire-up.
So I've heard.
Russ, you are a dark horse.
Well, I have to say, Sarah, it's a while since I've been called a horse.
Now then.
Don't go there.
Best not.
You never know when the wife's watching.
Indeed you don't,
And the
Philip.
last thing anybody wants to do is upset Mrs. Russ.
Indeed not.
No.
More from Russ later.
Indeed so.
Now, suppositories. There was a time when hardly any of us...
So if you are thinking of going out beagling tomorrow, not a bad idea to think about putting your head in a hat, because by the middle of the day...
With the odd clap of thunder possible anywhere, really, from as far west as Burundi, right across towards Kimbababo in the...
On that day, 63 years ago in 1942, when so many of those who'll be gathering here tomorrow to remember never made it. Melanie.
Nick, thank you.
In London tonight, where some of the biggest stars in the world of pop music are
gathering for the Maddie Awards, traditionally the music industry's biggest
night of the year. Our popular culture correspondent, Zoe Butler, is there, rubbing shoulders with the stars. Zoe, has it gone as smoothly as the organisers hoped it would, or has there been a repeat of last year's controversies?
Yes, Francis, very much so. Pretty much anyone who's ever been anyone is likely to become anyone, or anyone in between anyone is...
Huge buzz on the markets with the suggestion the internet firm might be the biggest flotation in the last decade.
Well, you know what I'm going to say to this, right?
No.
Well, whoop-de-doo, poop-de-pip and shizzle my gazizzle. You mention the words .and/or.com, everyone still goes boss-eyed chipmunk doolally. Isn't this just a case of, oh look, I've got sparkly slippers, everyone's stampeding down the fairground to gorge themselves on toffee apples. I mean, we all like to waltz on the Big Dippers and come off smiling, nice chunk of fudge, bag full of goldfish, but we're over that now, aren't we?
Well, as you know, ESN news reporter Nick Burnham is in space, embedded with the current NASA team on the International Space Station, and he joins me live now. Nick, have there been any celebrations on board to mark Halfway There Day?
No celebrations, Melanie, no. There is a time and a place for festivities, and although the time may be now, this most definitely isn't the place.
I caught up with some of the nominees earlier today and asked them who they thought was going to win. Who do you think is going to win?
Me.
Me?
Us.
Them. As you can see, Francis, all those verdicts are pretty unanimous, if that is a word.
And tell me, Zoe, has it gone as smoothly as the organisers hoped it would, or has there been a repeat of last year's controversies?
Very much so, Francis. There certainly isn't, and many of them are actually here.
Quite whether it's possible to sleep with 3 different women at 3 different hotels at the same time when at least one of them is apparently already dead is what I guess for the moment you'd have to call a legal nicety. This is Lauren Peterson for IBS News, Los Angeles.
Lauren Peterson there at the Vicente trial in Los Angeles. This is IBS News. You're watching Anthony Markovitz and Julia Reagan. Anthony, that is some story unfolding in that courtroom.
It is. I got to say, even though you just know the guy is guilty, if he was throwing a party, you'd kind of want to be at it, wouldn't you?
A lot of people are saying that it's a story that's emblematic of our times.
Here's what I don't get. You're married to Deborah Shelby. That's Deborah Shelby. And you discover she's having a lesbian affair with a girl you're already cheating on her with, and you murder her? Why?
It's coming up to 5:30.
Why would you do this? That's the real crime here. I can't get over it.
Time for Alicia with some more weather news.
Julia, thank you.
It's like murdering Santa Claus. It's insane.
Julia, we've got a tornado warning in place for you tonight out over the Kansas.
All that coming up later on Film and Movie News. But first, a special interview with comic legend Dan Hunter, writer-director of Digging a Hole, Carrie and Joe, and the soon-to-be-released This Is the Justice. He came in and spoke to Film and Movie News earlier in the week. Dan Hunter, thanks very much for joining us. You're probably the top comedy writer, performer and director of our time. You're the comedian's comedian, a legend in the industry. I'm a huge, huge fan, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to the show.
It's good to be here.
Before I begin, I would just like to say I've been following your work for as long as I can remember, and the happiest, most joy-filled moments of my life are down to you. I'd like to thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. You are without doubt
We did observe a half-a-minute silence, of course, earlier on, and in that silence, we thought our private thoughts, maybe even shed some tears, but then just 30 seconds later, our normal silence resumed, and everyone turned their backs on me and got on with whatever it was they were doing.
Nick, I imagine a half-a-minute silence in space is a very quiet silence.
Melanie, it is, yes.
He's already walked off with 2 bongs, so I don't think we'll be seeing him again this evening.
So, Zoe, has it gone as smoothly as the organisers hoped it would, or has there been a repeat of last year's controversies?
Very much so, Francis. You can smell the excitement with a knife.
Of 21-year-old Ken Broadbent, then a young man of just 21, who set off from Brighton in August 1942, walked under the channel to avoid enemy radar, and emerged on the beaches of Normandy in February 1943, still carrying his secret message.
Digging a Hole was one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. I remember I laughed so hard I actually swallowed my tongue. I had to be given emergency first aid there and then in the cinema. If there hadn't been a student nurse sitting in front of me.
How the markets might react to a merger between 2 such giants in this sector. That one's to you, Michelle Wong.
I'm sorry, Dan, I didn't catch that.
The question was how the markets might...
No, I'm sorry, Dan, I'm not hearing you.
Sorry, Michelle, obviously we've lost you temporarily. Francis Xavier, what was your take on the Saxmore-Darlow merger? Apparently we can't go to Francis. Kyoko, what's the reaction out in Tokyo? Well...
And Nick, will there be a packet of freeze-dried champagne ripped open when work is done?
Melanie, no, there won't.
Well, we'll have a drink for you down here, shall we?
Yes, do that.
Nick, thank you. Nick Burnham there in space.
Melanie, thank you. Melanie Bellamy there with the standing news. Coming up.
You're watching ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard. Still to come.
The main headlines still to come so far tonight.
Plus a reminder of our top stories coming up later.
But first, If you want to have more sex, get a bigger toaster. That's the conclusion of a new scientific...
I remember that scene with the kitten. I had I had tears down my face. I was actually wet. I wet myself, and they had to wipe me. And it was because with the...
Tom, we've clearly got some gremlins at the moment. What was New York's verdict on all this? Oh dear. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dan.
Oh good. Brett, what was the verdict out in Australia?
Oh, well, obviously it hasn't had any impact here because of the time difference.
Yes, of course, but when the City Boys do open their newspapers or websites or emails to read about this, what do you think their verdict will be?
No, Dan, I think I've lost you.
Have you?
Yep, I've definitely lost you.
OK, well, that's a shame. Well...
The middle of the war was a turning point. That's from Jagdip. Thanks for that, Jagdip.
I'm not a Nazi sympathiser, but why is it the British media never show any sympathy for the Nazis? That's from Kate in Ashford.
In western areas of Scotland, where we're looking at a midge index of 11 or perhaps 12 in some of those mid-year...
So if you are thinking about nipping out for a bit of bacon, it might be worth making sure you've got something on your feet, because just...
Maybe a little bit of fog or mist lingering, particularly in low-lying coastal areas around Miyakanojo and Shimonoseki. But by morning, this should...
We remember the war, but we still have wars. Ironic, isn't it? Interesting point from Colin in Maidstone.
If the middle of the war had gone differently, then everything would have been different. No one ever thinks about that, do they? It's an interesting take there from Alan in Norfolk.
I have herpes, but I don't let it ruin my life. That's from Kaz in Chalfont St Peter. I think that's in relation to our earlier report on STIs.
Animals don't have wars, they just sit around having a...
Oh, Dan Hunter, thank you so much for joining us.
I hope you're okay.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure and a personal highlight of my life. I look forward to seeing a new film, Swallowing My Tongue and Dying Happy. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Dan Hunter there, the greatest living comedian of our time, and possibly any time. How depressing, then, to discover in real life he's one of the most miserable, unpleasant and unfunny men you could ever have the misfortune to come across. Spending an hour with the man is about as life-affirming as watching a cute little seal being clubbed to death in front of a weeping orphan. He's about as good-natured as Hitler in a traffic jam, with all the charm of an angry, drunk Australian who likes to fart at funerals. Honestly, you could have more fun eating nothing but tinfoil for a month. By the end of the...
But not so good, of course, for those of you who suffer from those heat-related rashes, with an itch count of between 50...
And lost both his legs, but did he complain about it? Of course he did. It ruined his life. That's from Joyce in Macclesfield.
Your coverage of the war is anemic and sentimentalised and does nothing to convey the sheer brutal horror of what went on. You should show more mutilated bodies and explosions, says Roger in East Dulwich.
When veterans of the Normandy campaign gathered together in Ely Cathedral last night to remember and celebrate the fact that just as they weren't on that day 63 years ago, they're still not dead. James Flint, Lookout East, Ely.
Fascinating stuff.
Certainly is.
Makes you feel very humble.
They were so young too.
Yeah, mind you, they look pretty sprightly for their age now.
Don't they just?
We'll just have to hope we look that good when we're 85.
Oh, don't, please.
Mind you, Russ isn't doing so bad. You know, you must be nearly in your 80s by now, aren't you?
Not far off, Philip. Yes, it certainly feels like it sometimes, especially with my stiff...
Suggests that 4 people died and everyone else was badly hurt.
8 people were badly hurt and everyone else died.
Completely destroyed. 12 people were killed instantly, but everyone else died later.
6 buildings were destroyed, no other buildings were harmed, 3 people died and...
Thought to have been caused by a munitions explosion in a gas factory. Police say...
And we can go live now to Washington and our worldly political procedures correspondent, Will Parker, who's there.
Will, what can you tell us?
Well, Ben, what we're being told here is that the Secretary of Defence is due here behind me any minute now. We were originally told that it would be 2 o'clock, but that's now been revised outwards by another 5 minutes or so. But of course, that all depends on when he actually appears.
Now, of course, there's been a lot of speculation about what Mr. Rumsfeld is actually going to announce today. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, Ben, I have to say that speculation here in Washington has been at least as much to do with what Mr. Rumsfeld isn't going to say as it has been about what he might or might not say when he arrives any minute now behind me.
Its authors say that the problem of obesity is currently costing the NHS £16 billion a day and could eventually lead to many of our biggest hospitals literally collapsing.
Our morbid obesity correspondent Amanda Panda has this report.
Walk down any street in Britain today, like this one I'm walking down now, and you're surrounded by wobbling fat.
We know, for instance, that he isn't going to say anything about what we originally thought he was going to talk about. But then again, I think we knew that already. That's just not his style.
Will, what more can you tell us about what we thought he was going to say?
Ben, that's an interesting one. What I can tell you is that Mr. Rumsfeld is very much his own man, and whatever he says when he appears behind me in just a few moments' time, it'll be exactly what he means, because as we know, that's very much his style.
Whatever Mr. Rumsfeld does say, Will, and of course we'll know that very shortly, what more can you tell?
Hello, I'm Dan Evans in London.
And I'm Tom Mitchell in New York.
And I'm Michelle Wong in Hong Kong.
And I'm Kyoko Ogura in Tokyo.
And I'm Katharina Schultheis in Berlin.
And you're watching World Money Today.
World Money Today.
With me, Johann Fleischer in Geneva.
And me, Francis Javier Menezes in Buenos Aires.
And I'm Todd Todmore in Johannesburg.
And me, Brett McKenzie in Sydney. G'day.
And me, Dan Evans in London.
For now, at least, it's over before it gets worse. Miles Anderton, IBS News, Brantford, Florida.
Miles Anderton there with that report from upstate Florida. Julia, if you had to choose something to get stuck up a tree of yours, what would it be?
Well, Anthony, it wouldn't be a skunk, that's for sure.
Julia, that's for sure.
It's 10 after 5, Worldwide Weather-Wide Update now with Alicia.
It's 10 after 5.
Well, Julia, let me tell you, if you're living in Uttar Pradesh, India right now, you've got other things on your mind than skunks.
You bet.
In the last 24 hours, the area around Gorakhpur, right here next to the border with Nepal, has had 8 times its annual quota of rainfall in, check this, 2 hours.
Sheesh.
2 hours?
That's wet. Julia, you ever been that wet?
Anthony, I gotta say I haven't.
I believe you. You'd have to be some kind of fish.
That is wet.
It is, and it's all because of...
Today, that same 9-stone woman would weigh almost 15 stones. So why are we all so horrifically fat?
Sometimes I think I wish I was thinner, like everybody else does. But then I think, you know, I wouldn't be me, and that's like, I don't know.
Gargantua, which isn't her real name, is only 32. As a teenager, she led a normal, active life, played hockey for her school, and even had 2 brothers.
I used to have a good time. At weekends, I had boyfriends coming out my ears.
And now?
I tend to stand a lot and eat food.
And do you think you eat too much?
It's like I don't eat between meals, right?
And how many meals do you eat a day?
7.
But these days it seems that most of us would prefer to leave dying to others and instead exercise our rights to buy a second home in either France or Italy.
In the meantime, the pensions time bomb is ticking, and the harsh truth is that it's not a myth and that it will explode. Richard Harbinger, PBS News, at the Department of Pensions.
Richard Harbinger there with that report.
That report from Richard Harbinger.
You're watching PBS News with Francis
Walsh and Adam
Lockwood. Coming up later, we'll have the latest. But we return now to our
main story tonight. New Home Office figures out today reveal that for the first
time in Britain, more than 2/3 of teenagers are now criminals.
Our social disasters correspondent Sam Henman has been
looking at the report.
This Home Office report paints a picture of today's teenagers in Britain as dangerous, stupid and out of control. Its authors conclude that a significant majority of today's teenagers, perhaps 70 out of as many as 100%, are now effectively feral, roaming Britain's urban landscapes at night in packs of up to 15 at a single time.
Coming up, is there life on Mars? NASA thinks.
Now, did this small boy really meet God? We'll have...
Is Madonna dead? More on that story.
Stay with us.
Coming up
shortly.
Stay tuned.
Moments ago, we thought we saw some movement through that door, which I don't think you can quite see behind me. But in fact, it turned out to be another man. What I can tell you, Ben, is that Mr. Rumsfeld is a man in no mood to mince his words, no matter what words he decides to choose to use or indeed not use. And of course, we'll know that very shortly indeed.
And in the meantime, Will, what are people saying there as they wait for Mr. Rumsfeld to appear behind you about the possible significance of what he will have said, assuming, of course, that he has said it?
Well, Ben, that's very interesting, because if indeed he...
Tennis now, and the International Tennis Federation has announced plans to ban players from grunting, yelping and gargling when hitting strokes in a bid to put opponents off. Shouting random words such as wallop, gotcha and yippee-ki-yay will also be outlawed.
Football now, and Wayne Rooney may find himself electronically tagged during the World Cup.
Catch up with what's been happening wherever you think you are. Have a nice time. See you later. Bye now. Take care.
Hello, welcome to Lookout East with Phil Kerdridge and Sarah Holt.
The top stories from around this region where you are tonight.
Bungay, the town where crack cocaine is freely available from men with hoods on the street corner. We've a special report.
And it's official. A damning new report says that the flow of East European prostitutes through Thetford is now out of control. An exclusive report coming up.
All that, and Russ is here with the weather, aren't you, Russ?
Indeed I am, Phil, yes.
You're looking very sprightly, Russ. Good weekend.
Yes, not so bad, thank you, Sarah. Managed to get out the old mower and give the grass a once-over. Always good for the soul and keeps the wife happy.
Yes, I see your team didn't do so well at the weekend.
Oh, well, there you go. You can't win them all.
What is it Ipswich supporters say? Some you lose, some you draw.
Steady on.
Yeah, that's a bit rich, coming from a Norwich girl like you.
A girl? It's a while since I've been called a girl.
Ah, well, you'll always be a girl to us, won't you, Russ?
Indeed she will, Phil, yes.
More from Russ later.
What is the correct term these days? It's hard to say. Woman? Sounds a bit formal.
No, I'll settle for girl. Girl's fine.
Lady? Oh, that sounds even worse. Anyway, more from Russ later.
I'm not sure I've ever been called a lady.
No, well, as they say, let's not go there.
Don't go there.
OK, now, prostitution. Ask any Thetford resident, and until recently, they'd probably have told you it was just a bit of harmless...
That young people today carry with them the facility to move seamlessly between their GCSE studies and violent lawlessness without making any distinction between the two. Justin Rustin, ESN News, Pinner.
That report from Justin Rustin coming up.
Stay with us.
And we go live now to Justin Rustin, who's still standing outside that same school there in Pinner. Justin, what more have you got to say there tonight?
Katie.
Finally, Ewan McGregor says he won't appear naked in his upcoming zombie flick.
He's now officially fat.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Coming up later, we round up all the latest celebrity anorexics.
But enough of this tittle-tattle. It's time for far more serious issues as we get up close and very personal with our man in LA. Who's got the news on the schmooze? It's Josh Cashman.
Hello, you lucky, lucky people.
So, Josh, we hear Cherry Listen caused something of a stir on the red carpet last night?
Oh, my God.
Talked about more and more would be simply to reclassify some schools as prisons, literally changing the signs at the front of the building, thereby solving the problem at a stroke.
Justin, thanks. Justin Rustin there in Pinner, still to come.
That report from Justin Rustin. Coming up.
Stay with us. You're watching ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard. Stay with us. Coming up.
Still to come. A roundup of our reminders of all the news still to come so far. All that still to come. But first...
Coming up, a reminder of...
Obviously, the Chemical Telecoms merger with STD is proving big news today, with both sides heralding it as the smoothest, most successful operation of its kind in recent years.
Isn't it just a bit of flim-flam, though, Mitch? It's always the same when companies merge. It's all giving it the duvet, I love you, darling. 5 minutes later, the knives are out, job cuts all around. You'd get less blood on the carpet playing Twister in a room full of tickly ninjas. 4 weeks later, everyone will be giving it the old belly knackers about being sold down the Swanee on a leaky pigeon wing, won't they?
Denied claims that some guardsmen were no longer being issued with busbies, but were instead being forced to grow their own hair into the shape of the famous.
So, what are the crimes this new breed of teenage criminals are committing? Well, probably the first wave of terror came with happy slapping, a phenomenon whereby adolescent thugs would attack random members of the public and video it on their camera phones for the amusement of their sick friends. Then came flash gobbing, a sick variation of the flash mobbing craze where kids would arrange via text or the web to meet each other en masse at a designated time and place and spit at unsuspecting individuals. Victims say they are left feeling shaken, disturbed, wet and yucky. There's also been a rise in e-gingering, a high-tech variation of knockdown ginger, where juvenile delinquents hack into your computer and send you emails posing as friends of yours and pretend to invite you to weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs or other social gatherings. Another crime on the increase is eye-dissing, where web-savvy teenagers find ways of electronically stealing your identity, metaphorically driving it around the block, smashing it up and eventually setting fire to it. Then, of course, there's mind rape, which speaks for itself, and a worrying upsurge in web voodoo, or woo voodoo, as it's become known.
Resulted in the wrong leg being amputated twice. Whole town was set alight.
Gas explosion in a munitions factory.
That the disease could infect a third of the world's population within the next...
This woman is a moron! She got invited to the premiere of this new movie, The Last Ocean. And remember how Liz Hurley started off this whole thing of the show-stopping red carpet appearance in that dress? And ever since we've had the shorter dress, the see-through dress, that poncho, tra-la-la. Well, Cherry obviously sat at home and racked her brain cell and thought, how can I outdo those? And so this is what she came up with. That no dress. She turned up to this premiere, and if I'm lying, I'm dying, not wearing anything, not a stitch. Unfortunately, she made a slight miscalculation. She forgot that it's a kid's film, and it's got a bunch of kids in it. And they were all there, of course, because it's a kid's film, and there are the kids in it. I mean, hello, or should I say goodbye? 2 words, humiliation. And she actually had the audacity to blame it on her designer. 2 words, Emperor's New Clothes.
That's actually 3 words, Josh.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got 2 words for you.
A lot of speculation, and much of it, I have to say, speculation. Not only about the form of the words that Mr. Rumsfeld will use when he appears behind me any minute now, but also about the precise order in which he may or may not use them.
And, Will, what more do we know about what you mean by that?
What we have to remind ourselves is that...
You're watching PVS News with Adam
Lockwood and Francis
Walsh. Back now to our main story tonight, and there's been swift
action around the clock to new Home Office figures which reveal that Britain's
teenagers are now operating mostly outside the law. Our reporter Katie Willard is in one of London's more youth-ridden areas, and she joins us now. Kate, where are you?
Yes, indeed, Adam. I'm here on the High Cross Meadows estate here in East London, an area which was singled out in the Home Office report today as particularly juvenile. Built in the 1970s as part of an idealistic social disaster, the intention was to provide innovative, good quality living space for those who couldn't afford the real thing. However, its reputation quickly became stained by suggestions of urine and other issues, and by the mid-80s it had been earmarked for an extensive programme of demolition. Now, I've got with me here Richard Asiedu, East London's Housing Liaison Officer for the estate. Now, Richard, you've been Housing Liaison Officer here for the last 4 years. What's your response to the Home Office report today?
Well, I have to say from the outset...
Right.
I have to say that I don't think anyone who lives and works in this community is going to recognise the description of its young people given in the report.
Right.
First of all, there are a number of major misconceptions which are presented as fact.
Right, well, clearly some very strong views surrounding this whole issue here.
So, Josh, what is the reaction?
What do you think? Everyone's just like applauding her? The parents are outraged. They're talking about emotional damage to the kids. This could scar them psychologically for years.
Is it that serious?
Oh, absolutely. Totally not. You could just see them thinking, this is fantastic. Followed by chat show, followed by ka-ching.
So, Josh.
Built in the 1970s, largely from concrete, as is so often the case with estates such as these. The 1970s, of course, a time long before today, a time when concrete itself was young, a time...
How can you not find it funny? Although there is a very serious downside. This could be the beginning of something. We could be seeing the erosion of our shared social values, and that is a real concern. What if Robin Williams turns up naked to his next premiere? Can you imagine? Oh, please! Do you want to see that? I'd rather watch one of his movies, and they're awful.
Just time now for a quick look at tomorrow's paper.
Look back at today's paper.
Roundup of last night's papers.
Thanks, Sarah. We're getting reports just in of an incident on the A989 just south of Junction 4 where a lorry has overturned and shed its load of cars. Long delays there now due to a sudden increase in the amount of cars on the road. And I'm afraid that's a story for a lot of us right now, as we can see if we take a look out on the roads.
Brought up her own 2 children on the estate, here in this very flat, in fact. And she's also a single mother. So in a way, perhaps, she's more qualified than most to comment on the Home Office report. Vicky, hi.
Hi.
Now, I know you've had some really quite disturbing experiences at the hands of precisely the sort of teenage criminals described in the report.
Yeah, that's right.
What were they exactly?
They were boys.
Right. And what were the experiences?
Well, they were very unpleasant. These boys are constantly hanging around the lifts.
Right.
They are doing drugs. They often urinate in there.
Yes.
And no one dares do nothing about them because they have knives.
Right.
Maybe even guns.
Right, and I gather your daughter suffered serious physical intimidation on several occasions.
Yeah, well, this is the worst thing of all.
Right, thanks, Vicky. But are things really as bad as they seem?
And while the dispute between the librarians and PACT, the Producers Alliance for Cinema and Television, continues, it's currently impossible to film new footage of libraries. These library pictures were filmed some...
A8, the scary circus, cars back to back out there, not because they've run into each other, just very close together. A313113, the IKEA bear pit, long tail...
Attendant insurance implications. He said to be taking it very seriously.
Is he? And I've just won the swimwear section in Miss World. Hooray! I love the way we're meant to feel sorry for these guys, Mitch. He's absolutely minted. He's still picking up a bonus as fat as a faddle. He is laughing all the way to the bank. When he gets there, he's laughing even more. It's his bank. This is a classic case of having your cake and eating it and coming back for cheesy biscuits. And tiramisu, isn't it?
Well, a key part of that process has been a buddying scheme, under which young boys at risk of stabbing people for money are partnered with an older boy who tries to stop them. With me here now are Joe and Malcolm, both currently taking part in the scheme, and also with them is Carl Jacobs, who is actually an adult. Now, Joe here, you're 14 and you're currently Buddy E on this scheme, and Malcolm here is 17 and is acting as your buddy-er. So what difference has this scheme made to you?
Well, basically, your man tried to take me off-road, innit? Trying to help me get my head straight, you get me?
Yes.
So, yeah, and he used to go to his yard, yeah, go to his yard, go to my yard as well, yeah.
Right.
Tell me, blood, you don't need to shop crack, blood, you don't need to bun weed, you get me? So, he's my brethren now, innit? So we're cool, yeah, and he used to tell me, blood, you're a top boy, blood, you're a big boy, you never know, blood, you can be a massive boy. Yeah,
right.
Like, yeah, standard, blood, that's a rude way to think. Standard.
Well, as you can see, a lot of very different thoughts here in East London tonight. And clearly this is a debate which will continue to play out across estates like High Cross Meadows in the months to come. Adam.
Kate, thank you. Katie Willard there in East London.
That report from Katie Willard in East London there.
Other news now. And
on the plus side, his hair will obscure a lot of his body. But on the downside, we'll see his hairy body.
Right. Josh seems to have lost the ability to talk with words, so we'll leave it there. Thanks, Josh. See you next time.
Yeah, next time you bring your mom.
Wave of prostitution and its related problems of drug abuse and violent crime. But one thing looks certain. It may be the oldest profession, but here in Thetford, it's one profession that isn't going away anytime soon. Penny Watson in Thetford for Lookout East.
That report there from Penny Watson in Thetford. Nice town, too.
It's lovely, Thetford.
It looked cold, though. I thought our Penny looked cold. You know Thetford, Russ?
Oh, yes, indeed. I know it well. As a matter of fact, I had a girlfriend there once.
Oh, really?
Brings back some nice memories. Can get cold, though, there. I do remember that.
We won't ask why you remember that.
Best not, perhaps, just in case the wife's watching at
Oh,
home.
yes, you don't want to upset Mrs. Russ.
Indeed not.
Let's not go there.
Don't go there.
Indeed not. Pull out.
OK, anyway, more from Russ later.
Honestly, boys. Now, in less than 20 years' time, most of East Anglia will have disappeared. That's the rather worrying...
All the news so far.
That's still to come. Stay with us. But first, coming up next, a look back at what's still to come on tonight's programme.
Irritable trowel syndrome, how too much gardening could damage your arms.
Dead wood. As our climate changes, how trees are set to become a thing of the past.
Head over heels when it comes to the women in their lives, why some men prefer head over heels.
And AIDS. With the number of cases in Britain on the increase again, we have the complacency.
All that still to come, but first, here's Melanie with the standing news. Melanie.
Katie, thank you. I'm Melanie Bellamy, and this is the standing news. Now, as we heard in Justin Rustin's report earlier, reaction to those Home Office figures released today, showing that 2 out of every 3 in 5 of today's teenagers are criminals, has ranged all the way from sheer disbelief, through sheer belief, and onto, I told you so, we've been saying this for ages, but no one believed.
A943, the gastric tentacle, again very slow moving when it is moving. A604, sanity bypass, backed up as far as the eye can see, and even further, I'm afraid.
Heard from the politicians, the academics, the experts, even the police. But what about the criminal teenagers themselves? We can go live now to our reporter, Stuart Fruitt, who's in Manchester. Stuart, where are you exactly?
Well, Melanie, I'm in Manchester, as you say, but I'm afraid I'm not able to tell you exactly where that is for legal reasons. But Manchester, of course, home originally to the Gallagher brothers, a city with more than its fair share of northern problems, such as violent drug-related crime, insolence and spitting.
50,000 people gathered in London for the latest in a series of protests against the weather. Organisers blame the poor attendance on the weather, which they say...
I'm Anita Rajatani, and this is 15 Seconds. The headlines this hour. At home, the government okays a new nuclear reactor in Norfolk. In international news, France anger over New Zealand claims. And sport, Effrey is out. That's it for now. More later.
What more do you know about what you can tell us about that, Will? Ben, that's an interesting one. What I can tell you about what I can tell you is that one of the things people are starting to say here is that...
Different perspective on this story. We go live now to space to join our correspondent, Nick Burnham, who's embedded exclusively for ESN News on the NASA Space Station programme. Nick, from your unique vantage point up there, how big a problem do these crime figures represent?
Well, Melanie, that's an interesting one. I'd have to say that in the time I've been out here in space, I've spent a lot of time, and when I say a lot of time, I mean a lot of time looking down at the Earth. And I'd have to say that tonight the Earth looks very, very similar. It might feel different to you down there. Perhaps it's a world filled with more danger, more fear. But to us in space, it looks exactly the same as it always does. Small and distant.
The closing of the plant means job losses of up to 1,000.
Ouch.
Anthony, it's a lot of jobs for that community to lose.
That's for sure. That's something you don't want to have.
Right.
1,000 is too many. It's too big a number.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families affected.
They sure do. Here's Alicia now with a worldwide weather-wide update.
Anthony, thank you.
Repeat of last year's Tour de France when a group of 12 riders ended up in Austria, some of them in cars, despite...
Some of us are worried about loved ones becoming the victims of crime back at home, but then we have to remember that statistically speaking, it is very unlikely. And as one of my crewmates pointed out, I am more likely to be hit by an asteroid. Apparently that is quite possible.
And finally, Nick, on the evening these new crime figures were announced, can you sum up for us the mood out there in space?
In a word, the same. Melanie.
Nick, thank you. Nick Burnham there in space. Katie.
Melanie, thank you. Melanie Bellamy there with this standing news.
Melanie, thank you. Stay with us. Still to come.
Coming up, you're watching ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard. Next, a reminder of some of our earlier headlines. Coming up.
But first, coming up, fly in the ointment, as hundreds of thousands in the Central African Republic of Chad suffer skin rashes caused by polluted drinking water. Britain pledges to fly in the ointment which could cure it.
And hard cheese, how cheese is getting more...
Scenes of jubilation when thousands took to the street following Great Britain's 4x4 relay team's dramatic third place in the European Athletics Championships in Helsinki.
Less than a tenth of the amount of drizzle we'd normally expect, I think.
Area around Kinababin in Tajikistan has actually experienced no temperature of any kind for more than 4 months now. And if we take a look at the...
A11, Naughty Underpass. I'd be seething. A480, the Cardiac Slipway. Livid. A237, Wobbly Mishmash. Grrr.
Problem of childhood obesity, prompting Frankie Dettori to warn that racing may need to introduce Shire horses to carry the next generation of fat jockeys.
Young people today are obese and they are criminals. One must lead to the other. We need to send them to slimming camps or do what they do in Japan and make them wrestlers. Simple as that. Thanks for that, Ricardo.
No one takes responsibility for their actions. Everyone passes the buck. I blame society. Society is to blame. That's a text from Emma. It's quite a profound point there.
Young people...
All that coming up later on Film and Movie News. But first, we take a look at Walking with Death, the new movie starring John Logano. It's a loose follow-up to the wonderful The Rainbow Killers, and earlier this week I talked exclusively to him about the film. John Logano, thanks very much for joining us. I know you're extremely busy at the moment and I really do appreciate you joining us. Pleasure. Before we begin, can I just say what a privilege it is to be actually speaking to you. I'm a huge, huge fan and I really do appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. And the stock market responded well, as you might expect.
Yeah, they're waiting in the bed, and we're meant to believe it's going to be magically mocked up by unicorns and woodland folk. They're always saying things like this, Mitchell, aren't they? They're like a parrot DJing with a broken record. nothing gets done, does it? It's all, you can ask me no questions, I'll give you no answers. You can polish my whistle, I'll play you no tune, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. New movie follows on from The Rainbow Killers, which I thought you were fantastic in, by the way. Absolute tour de force, one of the most brilliant...
Then everyone within a 100-mile radius of where I'm standing now would simply drown. Nick Andrews in what, for the next few years at least, is Halesworth. For Lookout East.
Nick Andrews there in Halesworth.
Lovely old town, Halesworth.
Yeah, sad really it's all going. What do you think, Russ?
Used to be a pub in it.
Oh, dear.
They are scum and they should be exterminated like the vermin they are. Writes Bill in Bermondsey. Thanks, Bill.
The reason young people are criminals is that they are young. Old criminals were young once. They'll grow out of it. That's from Jose in Birmingham. I don't really understand that one.
The kids are all right. The cardigan and slippers posse should just pop a pill and chill. That's from Big D. Thanks for that, Big D.
I hate my boobs. I think they look too triangular. That's from Sam in Essex. I think that's in relation to our earlier piece on plastic surgery.
Young people grow up too fast these days. Scientists should find ways of stunting their...
Every film you're in, you somehow manage to steal every scene.
Time to review the papers from last Thursday.
Cast an eye over what the papers were saying on this day 10 years ago.
Intelligent, smart, engaging, warm, funny, sexy, brilliant, genius, charismatic.
I don't understand the way kids talk these days. They all sound like they're black. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just think it's wrong. That's from Mick in the Isle of Dogs.
Not all children are bad. We have children and they're absolutely lovely. That's from Mummy and Daddy in Cumbria.
I believe children are the future. Teach them well and let them show the way. Whitney Houston said that. I think she's right. She was a good role model for children before she became a drug addict. Thanks to Jill in Birkenhead.
Well, how much more do you know about what you can tell us? Well, Ben, not much more than you...
Baker's Crisps 11 will play the Leicester Nachos in the Quattro Formaggio final at the Blubber Dome. Again,
John Logano, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure and a personal highlight of my life. I can die happy now. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Logano there, a fantastic actor who brings a guarantee of quality to every movie in which he appears, except this one. Sadly, unlike its terrific predecessor, The Rainbow Killers, Walking with Death is an absolute train wreck of a movie. It has one of the worst, most ill-judged opening sequences I've ever seen and contrives to go rapidly downhill from there. A risible storyline, appalling dialogue and uniformly awful performances combine to make this one of the worst movies ever made. If you do go and see it, you'll want to tear out your own eyeballs and stuff them in your ears, just so you don't have to look at or listen to it anymore. But even then, simply knowing you're in the same cinema where it's on will make you want to chew off your own fist.
Real sense here that this is a man who may say almost anything at all. Now, if that is how it plays out, and of course we'll know that in a very few number of moments from now, but if it is...
It's 22 days now since the group was taken hostage.
Whoa, 22 days, that's a lot of days.
Anthony, it is.
You're talking a lot more days than you'd want to be taken hostage for.
We're seeing an increasing number of these situations.
Okay, maybe a few days, but 3 weeks? Whew, that's like a month.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families.
Julia, amen to that. A month, it's too long. It's like a whole, I don't know, like a whole July or like a whole November. It's too...
Moving onwards now to yesterday, we could lead to a higher sperm count than we'd usually expect at this time of the...
Ellen MacArthur's plans to sail her boat single-handedly around all the other boats in the world may run into...
informed opinion here in Washington who are saying that, frankly, they have no idea what he's going to say. In which
area could remain infected for up to 75 decades.
More of those upsetting pictures after the...
Stay with us.
Coming up
shortly.
Stay tuned.
Basically one big cloud of air.
Odd bit of mistiness just hanging on in some sub-Saharan...
I can see movement in the corridor behind me here. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks as if... Yes, it's him. Here he is now, flanked by his aides. The United States Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld.
That the number of outpatients run over by ambulances has more...
Said the water, which is poisonous, was harmless unless drunk.
The fire devastated 4 stories
including the latest by author J.K. Rowling.
The species could be extinct as early as next week.
And there's been swift reaction around the world to American intelligence reports which suggest that the South
American Republic of Bolivia may have acquired nuclear weapons.
Meanwhile, in a statement from Downing
Street tonight, Prime Minister Tony Blair called for
concerted reflection, describing the news from Bolivia as
profoundly nuclear. Our worldly affairs correspondent Sam Henman has been
looking at the background to today's developments.
We know that Bolivia has nuclear weapons, or at least we think we know it has. But the questions remain, is it a threat? Should we be concerned? Just how dangerous is the situation? And just how unstable is Bolivia? Well, let's take a look at the facts. As a nation, Bolivia was involved in numerous wars, particularly between the 15 and 1800s. In the 20th century, it was plagued by military coups, dictators and economic crises. Bolivia hates Chile. Leading Bolivian novelist Ernesto de Souza described the country as a kind of scary, drunk, crazy man who would kill you if you looked at his face wrong. While the head of their nuclear program is described in some quarters as...
Welcome to Look Out East with Phil Kerdridge and Sarah Holt.
The thumping headlines from around the region where you are tonight.
Ipswich is officially named as European City of Violence for 2007. We have the reaction.
Angry protests as Norfolk police announce controversial new measures to crack down on dogging.
And concern as a report out today suggests that plans for 3 new wind farms across the region may mean that parts of Suffolk could simply run out of wind. All that, and Russ is here with the weather, aren't you, Russ?
Indeed I am, Sarah. Now, wind farms, Russ. Good idea or bad?
Well, I'm not so sure, Philip. I'm a bit of a solar panels man myself.
There you go. You see, trust our Russ to be at the cutting edge.
No flies on Russ.
Hey, now, let's not go there.
Got a couple installed up on the old roof a few years ago now.
So you're living for free now then, are you?
Well, got to get them wired up yet.
Oh dear.
Still.
There's always something.
Oh, there's always something.
There's always something.
More from Russ later.
Yes, indeed.
Now, dogging. A few years ago, hardly any of us...
Coming up.
You're watching ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard. Stay with us.
Still to come, as Bolivia denies claims that it has deadly nuclear weapons, we go to Los Angeles for reaction to news of the latest things.
Stay with us.
And coming up, we've a roundup of all the news still to come.
All that still to come.
Stay with us. But first, are wigs becoming too big?
Thank you, Sarah. No real hiccups on the roads at the moment. The only major incident we've heard about is on the A848, where the overhead matrix is apparently indicating to motorists that the road is fog-bound, which it isn't, and luckily they're ignoring it, so traffic is freely moving normally. Out onto the roads now. This is the A35415 approaching the Concrete Greek, and as you can see, a very light flow, traffic flowing very lightly. The A5650 at the Horse's Eye, again much better than you'd expect really at this time of the week. The traffic light's going red there, but apart from that, very little to contend with really. The A222, Howard's Way.
That the Bolivians may have been trying to throw international observers off the scent by disguising themselves as Russians, importing Russian military hardware, Russian hats, even Russian trees, in an effort to hide what was actually the Bolivian.
What seems to have happened next is that Hancock, having tried and failed 3 times to shoot his mother, eventually made his way out into his yard, where, in an apparent attempt to commit suicide, he turned the gun on himself, but missed, instead shooting dead his neighbor's horse, which was grazing in an adjoining field. When the neighbor in question, 67-year-old Clarence Lippincott, who had a history of heart problems, heard that shot and came out to see what had happened, he collapsed, later dying in hospital after suffering a cardiac arrest. This is Miles Anderton for IBS News, Defiance, Ohio.
Miles Anderton there with that sad story from Ohio.
That is unlucky, isn't it?
Anthony, it is. You kind of don't know who to feel sorry for.
You don't know who to feel sorry for. I'll tell you who to feel sorry for, the horse.
You're watching IBS News with Julia Reagan and Anthony Markovitz. It's 10 after 5.
You're out in your field, you got the sun on your tail, maybe a little grazing, you're thinking to yourself, you know what? It's good to be a horse. Next thing you know, some guy with a squint blows your brains out. That's a bad day, even for a horse.
I guess it's another one of those stories that calls into question our gun culture in this country. It's 10 after 5.
Also, you got to think, if you're a depressive, I mean, if low self-esteem is your thing, why, the last thing you want to do is to try to shoot yourself and miss.
Yeah, it's a question. Right now, though, it's time for Alicia with a Worldwide Weather-Wide update.
Julia, thank you.
What do you got for us, Alicia?
Anthony, you are going to love this.
You know I'm ready.
Believe it or not, if you're in Manakapuru in the Amazon basin, Africa right now, you're looking at rain for the 110th day in a row.
The 110th day. This is the weather for the Bible, right?
Well, not exactly. If we look at the satellite picture, the reason is this large
A116 pointing dwarf, clear northbound and southbound. A456 pelican trombone. As you can see, nothing to say. A72, the whiplash lady. Not much to add. A501.
From Bolivia itself. Meanwhile, in a statement from Downing Street tonight, Prime Minister
Tony Blair called for concerted reflection, describing the news as profoundly nuclear.
Stay with us for a further update, plus more reaction on that story. But first, it's time for a reminder of what it is. We can go live now to Washington and to our Washington correspondent,
Colin Kavanagh,
who's in Washington. Colin.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Adam. What more can you tell us?
Well, Colin, there's been swift reaction around the world to today's news. What's your sense of how people are assessing what the mood is there in Washington tonight?
Well, here in Washington, of course, it's still early afternoon. It won't be tonight until much later. But I think the best way to describe the reaction here is to say that people here are jumpy. I met a senator, Senator Tom Durskin, earlier, a highly respected Democratic senator, a tall man, a seasoned campaigner, not a man you'd normally associate with jumpiness of any kind. And he told me that earlier in the day he'd run into Condoleezza Rice, the Secretary of State, a woman, of course, and someone with a reputation for being able to keep calm even when everybody else is hiding under the table, and that she was looking twitchy. She herself apparently told him that she had seen Donald Trump.
And the perils of latex. All that coming up later on Film and Movie News. But first, a special treat for movie lovers everywhere. An exclusive interview with Alan Cameron.
Alan Cameron, thank you so much for joining us. It's an honour and a privilege. I can safely say you're the greatest director of our age, and it's a special moment in my life to finally meet the man who changed the face of cinema forever. Watching your films made me realise the power of the cinematic art form. It made me realise that it is an art form. It made me want to be involved in that art form. In fact, it changed my life. Wow.
And it's now looking increasingly likely that Ilya Peryovich is going to make a hostile takeover bid for Benderlex.
Wow, that's going to be rattling the cages down at HQ, isn't it? This guy's scarier than rattlesnake soup. If he does go pirate on them, they know they're only a spit and a lemon away from being stripped off like a lazy goose. Shouldn't they be doing hoofy double time on this one?
Who was himself looking more than usually jittery, had a meeting with the Vice President Dick Cheney. Someone who's generally regarded as something of a rock here in Washington, a man who's seen everything and had just about every heart attack going, and that Mr. Cheney was what he described as jerky when they got onto the subject of Bolivia.
By the time you'd made your third film, every major Hollywood actress must have wanted to sleep with you. Every major Hollywood actor probably wanted to sleep with you. Every major Hollywood director was probably prepared to...
Coming up, has Brazil ceased to exist?
Are we hallucinating more than we think, or do we just think we are?
Stay with us.
Coming up
shortly.
So if you are thinking of going tree climbing, it might be worth taking your cardigan with you because...
Unless you're a hay fever sufferer, of course, in which case you should probably just stay indoors with your windows firmly shut and possibly your eyes as well, because...
You also have the greatest beard of any living director. It's...
A415, Giant's Cleavage. As you can see, traffic moving freely, but backwards.
To help quash suggestions, we've been hearing that Mr. Bush has in effect, as one former White House aide described it to me earlier today, gone raccoon on Bolivia.
Colin, thank you.
Colin Kavanagh there in Washington.
That report from Colin Kavanagh.
This is PBS News with Adam Lockwood and Francis
Walsh. A reminder now of the story you've just heard about. There's been swift
action around the world to American intelligence reports which suggest that the South American
Republic of Bolivia may have acquired
nuclear weapons. President Bush described the development as a bad day for...
Sanguine, vibrant, reinvigorating, witty, eclectic, passionate. Your pasta sauce really is one of the most amazing...
It's the small minority of highly visible, hardcore doggers we're targeting. And what we're saying to them is quite simple. The days when you could just come out here and stick anything into anything else, regardless of the effect on others, are gone. You will be caught and you will be prosecuted.
Detective Inspector Barry Hansford of Norfolk Police, thank you.
Not a problem.
Well, clearly an issue here which stirs up powerful emotions on both sides. But for the moment, it's back to Phil and Sarah in the studio. Penny, thanks. Penny Watson there with that report.
Well, fascinating stuff.
Certainly is.
I must say I can't see the attraction in it myself.
It's like everything else these days. It's a young person's game.
I hesitate to ask this, Russ, but have you got any dogging stories?
No, the nearest I've come to that is my wife and I once found ourselves on a nudist beach in Portugal.
Oh, look out, here we go.
I should have known.
Do you know, it was rather pleasant, actually.
As usual with our Russ, the mind boggles.
Don't go there.
Too late, I'm afraid.
I have to say, it was on that particular holiday that our daughter Imogen was conceived.
Right.
Well, so all in all, not a bad holiday, really.
Moving on, perhaps.
Yes, please.
Yes, indeed. Moving on, moving on.
More from Russ later.
Surely so.
Now, as plans are unleashed for 3 more wind farms in Suffolk, concern is growing that ordinary residents in parts of the region could end up facing a wind shortage. Nick Andrews has been...
Alan Cameron, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure and a personal highlight of my life. I can die happy now. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Alan Cameron there. From the moment he burst onto the scene with his stunning debut, The Big Team, I've looked forward to each of his new releases with feverish anticipation. Then, 5 years ago, came The Waverers, a masterpiece of inanity, signalling he'd lost it completely. Since then, I look forward to each of his new movies about as much as an anorexic looks forward to a fry-up at a fat friend's dinner party. Each new offering seems worse than the previous and about as welcome as a group hug in a Burns unit.
But how do we know that Bolivia may have nuclear weapons? Well, a body of evidence has been building up. First off, local surveillance showed evidence of construction in remote areas. Then there were reports that Bolivia was buying uranium, the raw material for a nuclear bomb, in bulk off the black market. There were the leaked government documents outlining the country's nuclear bomb-making program. This satellite photograph clearly shows what looked like nuclear warheads being transported across country. Rumours circulated that government ministers were looking to buy second homes. Nothing unusual about that, you might think, but these second homes were several miles underground. The government then issued a statement denying that it had any nuclear weapons. This was considered by many outside observers to be a clear sign that they did have nuclear weapons.
Full coverage of the game on our sister channel, Go Sports 1-2 from 6:30, with pre-match build-up beginning 24 hours earlier on Go Sports 1-3, 4 hours of post-match analysis on Go Sports 1-4 straight after the game at 10, and full interactive multi-angled replays on Go Sports 1-5 from midnight Wednesday to midnight Friday. Should be good.
Certainly should.
I'm Anita Rajatani, and this is 15 Seconds in 15 Seconds. The headlines this hour. Oops, Britney's done it again. Selkirk says I'm number 1. And sport, it's all over. That's it for now. More later. A324 hardcore inch change there. A325, that'll be the stunted Mexican.
To be issuing a bulletin on the condition of the little girl, and of course at the moment they're not saying what they mean by little, in about a couple of hours' time. Ben.
Ben, thank you. Between 1 in 5 British children below the age of 7 is failing to meet the national average. That's the message Tony Blair will be hitting home in a major speech he's due to make the day after tomorrow morning. We can go live now to our Westminster studio and our national failure correspondent, Ben White. Ben, what do we know about what Mr Blair will be saying exactly?
Well, Ben, I have to say, not a great deal more at this stage. Our government initiatives correspondent, Ben Green, is at the Department of Education. Ben, what can you tell us?
Well, Ben, this is going to be a major speech for Mr Blair. We already know that. Now, if for some reason that we don't know anything about yet, Mr Blair failed to make that speech, and I should emphasise that at this stage there's no earthly reason why he should fail to make it, but if he did, he'd be handing his opponents, both in the Tory party and the increasingly vocal minority within his own party, a huge slice of political fruitcake.
Ben White in Westminster, how likely do you think that is to happen?
Well, as Ben was saying there just a moment ago, Ben, at this stage, really not very likely at all. Ben Green at the Department of Education, what's the feeling there on the ground behind you about this?
Well, very much as you were saying, I was saying only a moment ago, Ben. At this stage, you'd have to say this is only the remotest of possibilities.
So in that sense then, Ben, the omens for Mr Blair are looking pretty good.
Oh, I think so, Ben, yes. But as is so often the case with omens, we'll have to wait and see. Ben.
Ben, thank you. Ben.
Ben, thank you. Still to come. In America, President Bush has reacted strangely to reports that Bolivia may have been...
True or not, few would deny that Barry Shipley is one of the most colourful managers around at the moment. Guy Batson went to meet him.
Barry Shipley's team, Cutford United, may not sound like a military superpower, but he's a manager on the march who's declared a long, slow blitzkrieg on the table. Using his two chief weapons of blood and guts, Shipley has dragged Cutford up through 4 divisions in only 2 seasons. And last year took them on their best cup run ever, very nearly leading them all the way to the first round. Barry Shipley and his team have been involved in a long line of violent episodes both on and off the pitch. But do war and football really go together? I went to meet the scariest man in sport to find out. Barry, thanks for joining us. I hope you're not going to bite me head off.
No. I leave that kind of thing to Bobby and the lads.
Excellent, excellent.
Still to come.
It's official. Sex is good for you. A new report suggests that regular sex is better for you than being unhappy.
And cowboy burglars. We have the misery.
All that still to be coming up. But first, here's Melanie with the standing news.
Richard, thank you. I'm Melanie Bellamy, and this is the standing news. Around the globe tonight, world leaders are trying to come to terms with the astonishing news that Bolivia has acquired nuclear weapons. One of the poorest countries in South America, landlocked on all sides by other countries and surviving only as a result of its export of cocaine, natural gas and torture. It's perhaps the last place on Earth you'd want to have a nuclear missile fired at you from. Right now, it's also an almost impossible place for normal journalists to report from. But our correspondent, William Gilliam, has managed to get to a phone in Costa Rica. Bill, what can you tell us?
Melanie, the picture here is very confused, and I have to say that here in Costa Rica today, it's very difficult indeed to get hold of any news at all about anything to do with Bolivia.
Bill, we're hearing reports that there's now a total news blackout in force in the capital La Paz and the surrounding area.
Well, Melanie, that would certainly match everything I'm not hearing on the ground here.
Bill, without wishing to speculate, what do you think would happen if...
But while you're asleep, things are happening. Important things. Things you should know about. If you don't know about them, you're missing out. That's why we go around the world. Through the night, every night. Whether it's darkness, we bring illumination. Where there are things happening they don't want you to see, we show you them. Because the news never sleeps. Neither do we. Neither should you. You're watching PBS News 24/7. All day and all of the night.
It's amazing just how many Ford Mondeos there are out there.
Bringing the game into disrepute. So, to paraphrase Winston Churchill, is this the beginning of the end, or the end of the beginning of that end for Barry Shipley and his men?
No, well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know what Churchill's been saying, so I can't really comment on that.
What about your captain taking a fan who asked for an autograph and repeatedly smashing his head in a doorway?
Yeah, well, certainly, you know, that's not the kind of thing you expect to see on the pitch, I grant you. But you've got to expect, with young lads, there's high spirits. Sometimes it can go to their heads. Or in this case, someone else's head. But, you know.
What's your sense of how people there in Central America are assessing what effect all this might have on the relationship between Washington and London?
Melanie, that's an interesting one. Earlier today, I was speaking to a man on a bike, and he told me that his mother had never even heard of...
Across parts of Northern Ireland and northwest England, and indeed we've got a severe breeze alert in force for those of you in high ground in these areas. So if you are thinking of...
It's going to come snorkelling in from the west, bringing with it wobbly spells with patches of shroudier weather before eventually snuffling its way out into some other direction.
So from what you're saying, you're pretty confident you can indemnify this charge?
Yeah, you know, I think the FA will see it our way, and if they don't, then we'll try to make them see it our way. But I think they'll see it our way.
When your lads set fire to the dressing room earlier in the season, it prompted rumours of something of a caveat within the club. So do you think this is a case of no smoke without a fire?
Oh, there was a fire.
Yes, but more
That's where the smoke was coming from.
Yes, but more generally, what would your thoughts be on that subject?
Well, you know, what happens in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. The exception to that was, of course, the fire, which, as we all know, spread to the clubhouse. But, you know,
I think I got maybe time for one more. Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Thank you. The New York Times this morning has the president quoted as saying that if necessary, we may have to put together, and I quote, a posse of guys with white hats to go over there and round him up. Wondered if you'd like to comment on what he may have meant by that.
Yeah, I don't want to really get into words at this point in time. President, he uses a bunch of words all the time, some more than others. Of course, you guys want a story, I understand that, but I think it was Mark Twain who said words are like peas. When you try and pin them down, they have a habit of sliding off the plate and under the
Deputy White House Press Secretary Lawrence Frenzel there. Those live pictures from the White House press conference, which is just finished, as you saw there. Anthony, events clearly starting to move very quickly there now.
Julia, they are. And you know, the great thing about these press briefings is you don't have to listen to what the guy's saying. You just have to look at the number of microphones.
That's probably true.
Anything over 5 microphones, you got a serious situation.
You're watching IBS News with Julia Reagan and Anthony Markovitz.
Look out, we got a 7-microphone situation here.
We'll be right back with Senator Bob Sandusky and his thoughts on what we just heard there.
Anything over 10, everybody take cover now. We got incoming.
Plus, day 51 of the Peter Vicente murder trial. And we've got some great weather for you with Alicia.
New report suggesting that the nation's credit card debt may be even worse than we thought, which poses real questions about how it can be serviced.
It's just a classic case of celibaware, though, Mitchell. I mean, talk about being bitten by the bad sausage. They've gone out and targeted Joe Chav, sold him a glossy Burberry donut that's all whole and no custard. Now they're surprised that he's emptied his pockets and he's blowing his fluff to the wind. What did they expect? A Fabergé egg from a golden moose? They're talking Japanese to ring a turkey here, surely.
Boxing now, and the fighter they call the slow, relentless killer and the man they call the patient assassin finally met in a match-up billed as the big night of the long fight. Unfortunately, it failed to live up to expectations, and the bout was over in just 33 seconds when the Croatian twisted his ankle on a slippery canvas, fell and broke his elbow.
Then we could see prices as high as £20 or £30 a litre much earlier than we thought possible, and that within a very few number of years' time it could actually be cheaper to buy a new car than to fill your existing car up with petrol.
In the meantime, one thing looks certain. Things are going to get a lot worse before they eventually get worse still. Richard Harbinger, PBS News, Central London.
Richard Harbinger there with
that report from Central.
A quick look at the international pages.
Quick glance at the obituary.
A quick look at the crosswords.
But for the bigger picture, unique to ESN News, we can go live now to our reporter, Nick Burnham, who's embedded with the NASA space station programme. Nick, what's the reaction up there in space to the news that Bolivia may have nuclear weapons?
Well, Melanie, as you know, as I'm constantly reminded, I am the only civilian unskilled member of the crew. As a result, I'm left out of a lot of the operations on board. Almost everything, in fact, and I'm definitely not privy to military operations, which I suspect is what we could now be involved in up here.
Nick, are you able to give us any sense of what sort of military operations you're referring to there?
I did, of course, ask what was going on, but my colleagues said that if they told me, they'd have to kill me. Of course, I thought they were joking, but they made it very clear that they weren't.
How would you describe the mood on board today?
In a word, cold and hostile. Melanie.
Nick, thank you. Richard.
Melanie. Thank you. Melanie Bellamy there with the standing news. Coming up, stay with us.
Still to come, a reminder of what's coming up later. That's still to come. But first, coming up...
Life is hard. So is our news. PVS News. For people who can handle the...
New sex tape, this time with 3, count them, 3 guys.
That's the thing about Paris, beautiful but very dirty and crowded.
Oh, yes.
And finally, Coldplay cancel their European tour as lead singer Chris Martin contracts jaundice.
He's all yellow.
Cha! You've got to be loving that.
I'm here all week. Step aside, Chris Rock. There's a new king of comedy.
But from the sublime to the ridiculous.
And what could be more ridiculous in the crazy world of LA? Or indeed the cake-faced loon that is Josh Cashman. Josh, hi.
Yeah, well, you can lick my pits and sniff my squeaky butt.
For local residents like Trisha Tunstall, wind farms like the one that would be behind me if it was here may represent the ultimate apotheosis. But if the government is to reach its target of generating 20% of the country's energy needs from non-practical sources by 2020, then it may be that in the end, her objections, like others like them, may simply be blown away. Nick Andrews for Lookout East, Shottisham.
Nick Andrews there with that report from Shottisham.
Very difficult subject.
My goodness, yes. Still, Russ is here with the weather prospects, aren't you, Russ?
I believe I am, Philip, yes.
So, will we be getting any wind this weekend?
No, well, no, not too bad this weekend, Philip. We're pretty confident we won't be getting any of the rain we've been forecasting all week.
Out on the golf course, I expect?
No, not this weekend, Philip, no.
No, you're not?
No, but the old paintballing this weekend.
Paintballing?
Grief.
Yes, once a year, a group of us get together and go into Rendlesham Forest and splatter the living daylights out of each other. Tremendous fun.
And what about Mrs. Russ? What does she make of it all?
Oh, well, she goes to stay with her sister in Northampton.
Ah, sensible girl.
Leaving young Russ here, footloose and fancy-free.
Now, there's a frightening thought.
Lock up your daughters.
And your mothers, I would think.
Well, these days, as the Americans would say, in my dreams.
Oh, let's not go into Russ's dreams.
Please, God, don't go there.
Let's not, perhaps.
Too much.
So anyway, a bit cooler today, then.
Well, indeed so, Sarah. In fact, the odd damp patch first thing this morning, but it soon...
I think the news that they have nuclear weapons is terrifying. I'm scared. I'm very, very scared. And everyone else should be too. That from Duncan in Stoke.
I don't care. Text Michelle. I'm moving to New Zealand. I'll be safe there.
Nuclear weapons don't kill people. People kill people. That's from Easy in Dallas.
The government should have seen this coming. Emails Todd. We should have bombed them years ago.
And that's about all we've got time for in tonight's World Money Today. Tonight, on an extraordinary day on Wall Street. My thanks to Tom Mitchell in New York. You're welcome. My apologies for not getting to you, Michelle Wong in Hong Kong.
No problem.
And you, Kyoko Ogura in Tokyo.
No problem.
And indeed you, Katrina Schultheis in Berlin.
You're welcome.
And apologies also for not talking to Johann Fleischer in Geneva.
It's fine.
Or Francis Xavier Menendez in Buenos Aires.
Not a problem.
Oh, and Todd Todmore in Johannesburg.
No worries.
And Brett McKenzie in Sydney.
Yeah.
Thanks to me, Dan Evans. Thanks. That's it. We're out of time.
We hear J.K. Rowling is over there in Hollywood.
Correct. JK, as close personal friends like me call her, is out here talking turkey about a new movie project. But you know what? She's got a stalker. Not that weird, you might think. After all, anyone who's anyone has a stalker. They're like totally de rigueur, right? But here's the weird thing. Her stalker is 6 years old. I know, it's like totally bizarro, Jerry.
A 6-year-old? So how does that work?
Well, it's the strangest thing.
I'm from Bolivia, and I think it's a good thing that we have nuclear weapons. Maybe now people will start taking Bolivia seriously. That's from Roger in Kent.
Here we go again.
Increasingly likely result that we'll see the French imposing some tariffs on our key exports.
I love stories like this, Mitchell. I mean, this is snotty kids in the playground gone high on the Chinese burns behind the sandpit, isn't it? I think they should settle things like this with a war. Let's see who's got the concrete trousers then. Well, I'm only messing with you, Mitchell. What are the domestic economic implications?
Well, now that's a good question.
Discovered a pigeon nesting in one of the pockets. Unusual.
Yep. Golf now, and unexpected trouble for Miguel Jimenez in the Bell Canadian Open when his tee shot at the fourth veered beyond the rough and into the trees. Shocked spectators could only look on in disbelief as Jimenez, preparing his approach shot, was suddenly attacked by a bear. The bear, known locally as...
No way of saying if they have them or not, but if they have, then the chances are that this is what they would look like, though many observers think that's highly unlikely.
But make the most of it whilst you can, because you won't last, and the reason for that is...
High ground warning for areas such as the Pennines and the Yorkshire...
Look forward at yesterday's horoscopes. Most
of... A roundup of today's Sudoku, and most of them...
It's the kid I feel sorry for. What kind of a life has he had to be that messed up? He must be seriously deranged! You know, you wonder if he could be a danger to himself.
Is that a concern? Are the police worried about that?
Oh, sure. He's 6 years old! What's he gonna do? Give himself a wedgie? Wet his pants?
If a country has nuclear weapons, that's their business. How would we like it if Bolivia told us we weren't allowed to have football? We wouldn't. It's an interesting point from Chris.
Yeah. When are we going to...
More later on those beauty pageant beheadings in Florida.
Plus the story of a Bakersfield woman who fell 11 stories out of her office window and died.
It's 20 after 5.
JK is said to be very concerned, and no wonder. This is very, very serious. If this kid managed to get into her home here, he could very easily eat all her cookies. Ah!
The funny man, described as a gentle giant, is accused of dousing his wife in petrol and setting fire to her.
When firefighters started fighting amongst themselves, I guess that's what you call a blazing row. 6 people died and...
The design flaw, which means that when switched on, the device emits a gas similar to the deadly nerve agent.
Getting reports whilst we've been on air of what's being described as an incident on board a Union Air 747 passenger aircraft en route from Chicago
to Amsterdam. The plane, a Union Air 747, is en route from Chicago
to Amsterdam, and reports are coming in of what's being described as
an incident on board. Obviously, we'll bring you more details on that story
the moment we have them. Just to repeat that, we'll bring you more details on that story
the moment we have them. In the meantime, a reminder of our main story tonight. Proposals for new...
With the Met Office warning that some weather could be expected in severe parts of the country and that drivers should take care of that. Out onto the roads now. This is the A284 near the haunted underpass. As you can see, a very healthy picture with the roads and indeed the traffic running normally. The A8, Finnegan's Wake, not looking too bad at all, possibly even looking better than that. The A517 at the Jub Jub, traffic coming and going in all directions. No hold-ups there, although earlier I did see a coach. A8...
But in the meantime, one thing seems certain. Britain's transport system is in a state of terminal velocity, and if radical measures of some kind aren't taken, the moment is fast approaching when we could all have to stay exactly wherever we happen to have ended up, and not go anywhere else. Alexis Phantom, ESN News, Gridlock.
Alexis Phantom there with that report. Still to come.
That report from Alexis Phantom. Coming up.
This is ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard.
Stay with us.
Still to come, we've a roundup of what's coming up later.
That's coming up. But first, next.
From ear to infirmity, how listening too hard could actually damage your hearing.
Captain John Handley, who, after a particularly nasty clash of heads, played the rest of the game with both eyes bandaged. It was a courageous performance, marred only by 2 own goals.
Brave guy. Golf now, and the issue of Brad Jackson's controversial new shoes has continued to reverberate through the game, with Todd...
A51 at the Custard Banjo, not quite a perfect picture there. We've got 1 or 2 drops of rain on the camera, otherwise it's A-OK. A714, the Sylvan Wiltord, also looks fine. A96, the Sausage Miasma, yep. A64.
Miss Cortez herself remained calm today, repeatedly claiming that her becoming a nymphomaniac had been Mr. Vincenti's idea, and that she would never have agreed had she known what was involved. Lauren Peterson for IBS News at the Vincenti murder trial in Los Angeles.
Lauren Peterson there with today's developments in the Vicente trial. All right, it's a little before 15 after 5, and later in the bulletin we'll be bringing you the latest on those kindergarten poisonings up in Montana.
We will, but first we have a breaking news story for you now. We're getting reports of an incident on board a Union Air flight out of Chicago bound for Amsterdam in Holland.
Details of the incident are apparently sketchy at the moment, but our reporter Robert Strang is at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago. Bob, what do you got?
Julia, we're talking about Union Air Transatlantic Flight 216, departed here at Chicago 10:30 a.m. this morning, bound for Amsterdam, Holland, carrying 217 passengers and 19 crew.
That's a lot of people with a lot of relatives back on the ground here tonight. Do we know how many relatives are involved?
Julia, no, we don't. And of course, we don't want to get involved in speculation at this stage, but you'd have to say...
Welcome to Lookout East with Phil Curdridge and Sarah Holt.
The heavy stories from around this evening in your region tonight.
Allegations of complacency in Norfolk, as figures out today reveal that rates of witchcraft in the county are at an all-time high.
And in Manningtree tonight, disappointment.
All that, and Russ is here with the weather prospects, aren't you, Russ?
Apparently so, Sarah, apparently so.
Now, you've been around a bit, Russ.
Well, I wouldn't know about that, Philip.
Now, witchcraft, good idea or nonsense?
Oh, well, no, yes, a bit of a tricky subject. You never know when the old other half might be watching.
Ah, yes, Mrs. Russ.
Indeed so. Not that she's a witch, of course.
No, of course not.
No. Moving on.
And reinforced steel. All that coming up later on Film and Movie News. But first, we take a look at My Friends, My Enemies, the new movie from flamboyant maverick Figo Figueira. I caught up with him last week when his film opened the London Film Festival. Figo Figuera, thank you very much for joining us. I know you don't do many interviews, so I do consider us to be truly blessed to get this rare chance to get an insight into the unique and brilliant imagination of Europe's greatest living director. So thank you again for this fantastic opportunity. And I should declare to you at this point, in case you hadn't already guessed, that I am an enormous, embarrassingly huge, total aficionado.
But I do know there used to be a woman up in Thetford a few years ago who used to walk through the town naked.
You see, you can always rely on Russ.
Well, and she was a witch, was she?
Well, I couldn't be certain about that, but there was definitely something a bit different about her.
Well, I imagine she drew quite a crowd.
Well, you had to get there early, yes.
Well, let's not go there.
Enough, moving swiftly on.
Best idea, perhaps, Philip.
More from Russ later.
Indeed so.
Now, arson. There was a time when the traditional house fire was part of the rural scene. A chance for us to gather together and watch our neighbour's property go up in...
Time now to see how the other networks are covering.
Together with an update of our main stories.
Suggesting that a third of us are already effectively dead.
Every English-speaking director would love to be as good as you. I imagine Cameron Crowe is so desperate to be like you that he's contemplating moving to Lisbon, learning Portuguese and dating one of your exes in the vague hope that some of your genius will rub...
Athletics now, and in Zurich last night, sprinter Dwork Edwards reclaimed the record for the longest indoor urine sample not to test positive in a straight.
Scorsese is probably trying to break into your house to steal your latest scripts.
A67, Hairy Dyke. Again, plenty of room on the roads, very roomy looking. A720, the Marmite Goose, more rain there. A105, the Gore Vidal, and...
Spielberg arranging for you to be killed so that he can harvest your brain and have it transplanted.
Still to come.
This is ESN News with Katie Tate and Richard Pritchard.
Stay with us for a reminder of the top stories still to come tonight. That's coming up next, but later.
All that still to come. But first, now, and whilst we've been on air tonight, reports have been coming in of an incident on board a Union Air passenger aircraft bound for Amsterdam from Chicago.
Details are still emerging, but for the latest, we can cross now live to our standing colleague, Melanie Bellamy, who has the latest. Melanie, where are you?
Yes, Richard, I'm over here. Now, as Richard was saying there just a moment ago, details are still very sketchy. The plane, a Union Air 747 en route from Chicago to Amsterdam, apparently on its way to Amsterdam from Chicago, is on its way to Amsterdam from Chicago and may have up to 387 unconfirmed passengers and crew on board, although how many people there are actually on board isn't yet clear. Suggestions that there may have been a mid-air explosion of terrorists on the aircraft have so far yet to emerge. Richard.
Melanie, thank you. Coming up, obviously we'll keep you up to date with that story the moment we have some.
All that still to happen. But first, a look now at a reminder of our roundup so far. Whilst we've been on air tonight...
Figo Figuera, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure and a personal highlight of my life. I can die happy now, thank you.
It's been good to meet you.
Figo Figuera there. So what is my friends, my enemies like? Quirky, offbeat, individual, fresh. These are just some of the things it isn't. The dialogue is appalling. So, Tito, what meaning is there in life? Ooh, Pepe, it is the spring and we can ride our motorbikes in the sky. And those are the good lines. The acting is so wooden, you'd feel entirely justified in taking a chainsaw to the actors, slicing off their faces and using them as breadboards. And just when you think it couldn't possibly get any worse, a group of small children do a musical number about saving the world with love. On ice. For no reason. There simply aren't the words to describe this monstrous pustule. You have to come up with your own vocabulary in order to convey its obscenity. It's shilt. It's chronofap. It's gucked. It's so...
We return now to our earlier news of that reported incident on board a Union Air
747 passenger aircraft carrying 294 passengers and crew bound for Amsterdam from Chicago. We can go live now to our reporter, Will
Parker, who's in Amsterdam.
Will, what more can you tell us?
Well, Francis, what we're hearing here in Amsterdam is that there's been what's described as an incident on board the plane, which is a Union Air 747 with 316 passengers and crew on board. Now, precisely what kind of an incident it is isn't clear yet, and we may not know that until the plane comes down in one way or another here behind me, as it's due to do in about 10 to 15 minutes' time.
Here in the studio, we're also getting reports in the last few minutes, so far unconfirmed, that the aircraft may in fact have changed course and may now be heading towards London instead of Amsterdam.
Absolutely, Francis. Yes, I'm now getting those reports too as you speak.
And Will, without wishing to speculate, of course, what would be some of the worst-case scenarios?
We've all heard that planes are the safest form of transport. But are they really? Well, statistically, yes, they are. But that hides an underlying truth, that planes can be beset by a myriad of problems. As highlighted by the current possible hijack, we know that one of these problems is hijacks. And of course, we all know about crashes, in a way perhaps one of the more obvious things that can go wrong. Less frequent are mid-air collisions.
All of which means that Francesco Moro is now the top-scoring foreign player ever to play on these shores and still be alive. Guy Batson went to meet him.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it.
As early as 1924, the Irish thinker T.S. Eliot was complaining about the influx of foreign players who, as he saw it, were ruining the domestic game. Most of us weren't even twinkles in our great-grandfather's eyes when Sven Jongqvist, the man they called the German, erroneously as it turns out, played for Beetleby Tykes. And probably none of us saw Ivan Baklava, aka Johnny Foreigner, or Etibau Niawuwewu, the man they called the man who cannot be named by name, or Sapong Winyan, the French.
Plus, a look back at our earlier reminder of what's to come.
All that still to come. Stay with us. Coming up.
But first, we return to our breaking story.
Our reporter Amanda Panda is now at Heathrow Airport. Amanda, what's the latest?
Yes, Katie, well, details of this flight are slowly beginning to emerge here. I can confirm for you that the aircraft in question is Union Air transatlantic flight UAT 216 from Chicago to Amsterdam. Now, this is a Boeing 747 with 342 passengers and 5 crew on board.
Amanda, is there any indication as to the precise nature of the incident which seems to have happened on board?
Not at the moment, Katie, no, and I think it would be irresponsible to begin speculating at this early stage. It could be literally anything, and a terrorist bomb with the catastrophic loss of life that would entail is only one of the many possibilities.
For Francesco Moro, it's literally a foreign country, because he's Britain's oldest living, top-scoring foreign footballer. Moro's lived in Birmingham for the last 60 years, where he played for the eponymous Moseley Rovers. But I've decided to bring the old roaming Roman here to Little Venice for a reminder of La Dolce Latte. It may be in London, but there's no death in the afternoon in Venice here. And that's because at 75, Francesco Moro is still alive. Quando lei è arrivato qui, immagino che...
When you arrived here, I imagine there must have been a massive electric shock, with the two cultures punching each other. Was it a difficult head for your test?
In the meantime, they're warning local residents here tonight to remain vigilant and, if possible, to remain out of doors. Penny Watson, Lookout East, Bury St Edmunds.
Penny Watson there with that report from Bury St Edmunds.
Extraordinary story.
Makes you wonder what's the point of living in Bury St Edmunds at all if you're just going to end up poisoned by toxic fumes from your own furniture.
Yes, it certainly does. What about young Russ? What are your views on arson?
Yes, Russ, what do you make of it?
Oh, yes, a bit of a ticklish subject, arson.
Really? How so?
Never set fire to anything yourself, I hope.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have, Sarah.
I knew it.
Extraordinary.
Russ, you are the man.
Well, yes, this was when I was a young man, of course, a long time ago now.
Oh, now stop it.
Yes, you're still a young...
Correspondent Will Parker in
Amsterdam. Will, I gather you've just been told that Dutch air traffic control has now lost contact with the Union Air plane.
Francis, yes, that's right. Just a few moments ago here in Amsterdam, we were told that Dutch air traffic control has now lost contact with the Union Air plane.
And Will, without wishing to speculate...
Anyway, to cut a long story short, one night I set fire to our father's beard.
Goodness me.
Not deliberately, of course. I was trying to light his cigar. He wasn't at all pleased.
Russ, you certainly have lived.
If you say so, Philip, I wouldn't know about that.
More from Russ later.
Yes, indeed.
Now, Manningtree in Suffolk. Perfectly pleasant town, you might think, not far from the coast, convenient for both the A12 and the main railway line. So why are so many of the people who live there suffering from disappointment? Nick Andrews has been having...
Bob, if those Dutch guys over there have lost contact with that plane, you'd have to say that's not good. There's a lot of sky up there. That thing could be anywhere.
Anthony, that's right. Another thing we don't know, of course...
Certo, uno dei frigoriferi. Of course. One of the refrigerators we think of when we're painting about the continental game is the high diving everywhere. But I get the mirage that actually, in your day, high diving didn't biscuit. It was considered bad application form. It was thinking to be like hitting a rhino with hay fever and fracturing its spine.
In the meantime, I can tell you that planes are continuing to take off and land here very much as normal, which gives the whole situation a kind of surreal...
Amanda, I'm sorry, I'm afraid we're going to have to come back to you. We'll go back to Amanda Panda at Heathrow in just a moment, but we're getting dramatic reports that one of the passengers on the plane has managed to phone a relative on the ground and has given details of what's happening on board.
We're joined now here in the studio by our aviation correspondent, James Rampton. Jim, these are pretty dramatic developments.
Very dramatic indeed, Dick. These reports coming in from an unofficial Dutch news agency, literally in the last few seconds. But what we're hearing is that a woman passenger on board the flight has managed to get through to her sister, possibly using her mobile phone, and told her that a man or men has somehow gained access and forced their way onto the flight deck of the aircraft.
Jim, how could that happen? I thought that couldn't happen. Could that have happened?
Well, there's some suggestion that the man or men may have been disguised as a member of the flight crew, and that's how they managed to gain access to the door of the flight deck, possibly using a piece of wood specially made for the purpose.
And could that have happened? How could that have happened?
Well, all airlines operate extremely tight security when it comes to possession of uniforms for their crews. But in this case, what could have happened is that they didn't work.
Jimmy, exactly what kind of wood might have...
Our final headline in the world of celebrity tonight.
Rumours abound that Robert De Niro has developed schizophrenia.
Am I talking to me? Am I talking to me?
Why, you think that's funny? That amuses you? You think he's some sort of clown?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
She's still got it. Oh, yeah. She hasn't lost it.
Oh, no. Coming up, we round up the latest celebrity food intolerances.
But first, it's time to jet across the Atlantic to see our man on the other side.
Yes, it's California girl, Josh Cashman.
Hello, my pretty ones.
So, Josh, what's the word on the street? We hear there's a big story breaking.
Woo!
We can go back
now to Will Parker at Schiphol Airport. Will.
Francis, yes, the situation here at Schiphol remaining very sombre, very Dutch. What more can you tell us?
Well, we're getting reports that a woman passenger on board the plane has managed to phone her mother on her mobile phone, and that 4 men disguised as pilots may have forced their entry onto the flight deck using a wooden knife.
Francis, clearly very dramatic news. And what's the sense there in the studio of where that leaves us here on the ground in Amsterdam?
Well, that's an interesting one. If these...
About the problem of claustrophobia. I suppose in your day, it wasn't really considered racism, was it? That word probably didn't marzipan in your vocabulary. I imagine you saw that sort of thing as sparkly canapes, and it was like water off a swan's cock.
That a group of up to 6 men dressed as terrorists have forced their way onto the flight deck using a wooden implement and have taken control of the plane.
Bob, if you're on that plane, that's news you don't want to hear.
Anthony...
Big! No, it's bigger than big! It's huge! Enormous! Titanic! It's bigger than George Clooney marrying Brad Pitt. Well, wait, maybe not that big, but it's way, way, way bigger.
Eerie sense of calm here at Sheremetyevo Airport in Moscow. People smoking normally.
Vague sense of unease here at the airport, but the Spanish are proud people. And if there is fear here tonight, then it's being kept behind sunglasses or discreetly tucked into designer trousers.
So, what's the story, Morning Glory?
Well, I can't tell you. No, don't be like that. No, I mean, literally. I can't tell you. They've slapped an injunction on it. This is how huge this is. This is so huge.
Bob, do we know what this wooden implement was?
One of the people I spoke to a moment ago thought it might have been an elaborate wooden replica dagger, something these guys have been working on for a long time, maybe in a prison workshop.
Bob, what about a wooden leg? You think that's a possibility?
Anthony,
Typical air of indifference here at Leonardo da Vinci Airport. Although I did see one woman screaming unintelligibly at another woman for a good 20 minutes earlier. Now, whether that was in some way a reflection of the heightened sense of apprehension across Europe tonight, it's difficult to...
You must be able to tell us something.
Would it help if I said you-know-who went ooh-la-la over a certain... and it all ended with an uh-oh, followed by a then a woohoo, and a whap, whap, whap. Words were exchanged, other things were exchanged, and it all ended in tears and 3 arrests? Does that help?
Not really, Josh.
No.
You can't figure it out from that.
And a lot of thought has gone into redesigning these flight deck doors since 9/11. They can only be opened from the inside, and they've been tested on everything from the latest generation of Semtex to shoulder-launched rocket-propelled grenades. However, they may not have been tested against wood, and that's where these intruders seem to have...
I think you'll find airports tightening up very quickly on wooden objects, plastic objects, glass, even...
May have burst onto the flight deck dressed as pirates, possibly with a wooden gun. Stay with us.
In London, fears are growing widespreadly tonight amid rumours that the hijackers could be planning to fly the plane into any building tall enough to be knocked down.
It's thought the possible targets may include Canary Wharf, the Swiss Rebuilding, or so-called Gherkin, the British Telecom Tower, or so-called Post Office Tower, or so-called London Schlong. A block of flats in...
Huge! Huge! Beyond huge! I'm drooling so much I've made myself wet!
Yep, thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Josh, can you give us some hints?
No!
I'll go on, just a little clue.
Do you want me to go to prison? Is that what you want? You know prison wouldn't suit me. I don't look good against grey. I'm into
The suspected hijacker may have been armed with a wooden dagger, and in the last few minutes, that speculation seems to have...
確認情報によりますと、ハイジャック容疑者は野球バットを振り回しながらコックピットに乱入した模様です。
Mit einem Bleistift bewaffnet. Aurait pu être armé d'une canne qui était en fait une épée, ce qui aurait paru
Террорист угрожал пассажирам цепной пилой, которая могла принести
خنجر خشبي أو قلم رصاص أو مضرب للكرة أو سيف خشبي وربما بمنشار يتحمل أن يكون.
Joined here now by one of the many international news reporters I mentioned a moment ago. This is Masato Ichiro of JJ Net News. Masato, hello.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. I know you're busy.
That's okay.
Now, how is this story being reported around the world in places like Japan?
Well, Amanda, that's a very good question.
Bob, do you think they changed their appearance in some way? Maybe they grew those mustaches those guys have, or maybe even beards.
Anthony, we just don't know.
I mean, for example, Regent's Park Zoo is widely rumoured to be on the list, as are a number of Italian restaurants in North London. Now, quite why...
Maybe even plastic surgery. That way they could have used the beards to hide the scars.
The government should have seen this coming. We should have killed all the terrorists years ago when we had the chance. That's from Angry Man in Popperwell.
I hate flying at the best of times, but this is it for me. From now on, I will only go to Wales. That's from Jessica and Stephen.
Josh, on that atomic bombshell, sadly, we have to leave it there.
Missing you already, Claudia!
Outstanding work, Josh. Now, peanut butter breast implants. We all know they taste good, but are they safe?
Why? Why? That from Hardy and Totnes, echoing a lot of your emails.
A particularly poignant text message here. It simply says, why? And that's from Saskia in Holland.
Why is it...
Lost contact with the aircraft.
Authorities in London tonight are said to be on purple alert, fearing that the hijackers may try to fly the aircraft into a building, such as the Houses of Parliament or the Elephant and Castle.
Our correspondent Robert Strang is at O'Hare International in Chicago. Bob, what's happening?
Julia, some dramatic news here in the last few minutes. I can tell you that Union Air is due to issue a statement at Heathrow in a few minutes' time. Apparently, a spokesman for the airline will be making that statement at Heathrow, London, in just a few minutes' time.
Bob, thank you. Anthony, our thoughts are with those guys in the plane tonight.
They sure are. You're on a transatlantic flight. A guy with a false leg and a wooden beard is something you definitely don't want to see.
Relatively little sense of panic here at the moment, if only because so many of the occupants of the zoo are animals and are asleep now. Apart from those in the nocturnal house who are, of course, just waking up, blissfully unaware of any danger that the night sky above their variously shaped heads may hold for them. Adam.
Dickie, thank you. Richard Harbinger at London Zoo.
That report from Richard Harbinger.
Now, a reminder in case you've just come in and had no idea. Intruders appear to...
Just been told here at Heathrow.
News indeed, Amanda. Let me go to Martin Dart at Schiphol. Marty, what more can you tell us about that?
Well, Melly, I can absolutely confirm what you already know. A few moments ago, here at Schiphol, we were told that a spokesman for Union Air is indeed shortly to make a statement at Heathrow in a matter of a few minutes' time.
Alison Ellison at RAF Lynham. How does this latest news tally with what you've been seeing on the ground there?
Melly, still no movement of any kind here.
Or perhaps that they were already disappointed before they came to Manningtree and that's how they ended up here. In the meantime, the residents of this Suffolk town seem perfectly content to be disappointed. Nick Andrews for Lookout East, Manningtree.
Nick Andrews there in
Martin Dart at Shifel. Marty, if you could sum up the mood there tonight in a single word, what would that word be?
In a single word, Melly, I have to say I think people here are expecting the worst.
And which of those single words would you choose?
Worst.
Amanda at Heathrow.
Apprehensive.
Ali at RAF Lynham.
Quiet.
And Martin Dart at Shifel.
We can go now to our correspondent Julian Gould, who happens to be actually on board a similar flight from Boston to Helsinki and joins us via the plane's onboard satellite phone. Julian, thanks for joining us. What's the mood like on board with you?
Ben, yes, the mood has been calm. As I look to my left, I can see the night sky. It's a view familiar.
Although it has to be said that so far they've not been known for using wooden weapons as a tactic. Another possibility is a crazed lone madman.
Mood of the people around you up there, Julian?
Well, I'm joined now by the person sitting next to me, Barry White. Not the singer, just a normal Barry White from Luton. Barry White in seat 11E. Thanks for...
What a terrible tragedy. If the plane does get blown up, I only hope some good can come of it, says Jalapeno in Railing.
I once got arrested while dressed as a giraffe. I think that relates to a story we covered earlier before this breaking news.
Who could have foreseen?
Seat 53C, Jeff Peake. He won this flight in a competition. Seat 24G, Brad Hart. Fought in the Gulf War. Lost another...
Joining me now is Amanda Panda of ESN News. Amanda, thank you for joining me.
Pleasure.
Amanda, 今回の事件はロンドンではどのように報道されていますか?
I質問ね。Union Air Flight 216 のニュースが伝わると、世界中のメディアが London の Heathrow Airport に一斉に集まってます。
May turn out to be the sort of thing that will become clear when we hear the statement itself. But if, on the other hand, that isn't how things pan out...
Will, I'm sorry, we're going to have to come back to you. We understand that Union Air statement at Heathrow is about to happen. Yes, there we are. There are the pictures. Let's go straight...
Live now to Heathrow and to that statement by a spokesman for Union Air.
Stay with that press conference is about to get... Looks as if we can... Сейчас прямое включение.
En direct...
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm going to have to interrupt.
This is live. Interrupt you.
I'm told...
Can't you do anything about this east wind?
Well, the famous last word.
Now, these pictures...
Interrupt you. Live.
لما تشوكي فالآن سوف نذهب إلى...
Just wanted to check our facts. I can now tell you that Union Air Flight number 216, flying out of Chicago O'Hare International Airport to Schiphol Amsterdam Airport, has not been hijacked. There were no other incidents of any kind on board, and the passengers were never in any danger at any time. The alleged intruder, seen breaking into the cockpit dressed as a pilot, was in fact the pilot. He had stepped out for a comfort break and experienced a slight inconvenience in getting back in due to the flight deck door having become sticky. At roughly the same time, there was a temporary glitch in Schiphol's air traffic control systems, and it was a full few minutes before the backup systems became operational. Flight number 216 landed normally, just 7 minutes behind schedule, approximately a quarter of an hour ago. Thank you.
What stage did it become clear?
Yes, sir. So you'll have to say that again.
At what stage did it become clear there was no...
Those pictures live from that Union Air statement at Heathrow. Extraordinary scenes there.
Certainly are. Well, let's go straight back for a reaction now to our correspondent Will
Parker at Schiphol. Will, what's the reaction there to what we've just heard?
Francis, yes, this is exactly the kind of conclusion to this quite extraordinary evening that no one at all has been predicting.
For reaction to extraordinary scenes here at Heathrow.
Go straight back
for reaction to
Extraordinary scenes. Und wir schalten zurück.
Extraordinary pictures from PVS News in London there. Anthony, it's hard to find the words right now.
Right. Julia, it is.